live with a pre-pod.
Is Laura pre-pod?
Laura pre-pod? So we are pre-podding right now. Festival of Friendship with Feng Chao and Jeff Scott, the Comedy Store. We are live right now pre-podding. This will not, for the most part, this won't be over the podcast. When they go to the subscribe, it could be. It depends. It could be. When they subscribe and listen to this podcast, whether it be on iTunes or Spotify or Libsyn or wherever people are.
Lidsville.
Where are they listening to podcasts? Pandora podcasts. This may or may not be on it. This conversation. This is why we call it the pre-pod. And we're back. It's 2019. We're here in Burbank. We have two great guests today. We also have Eric is going to be at the table. I said, why not? Let him be a part of this. And I don't know. I don't think we'll do the baseball card game today. We could. I mean, it could. It's possible. You know.
Never say never.
Never say never.
Never.
The box of cards
I just said it.
is in the trunk of my car, which is right outside. That can be opened. I have the keys to the trunk.
Nice.
Because now we have guests on today. We have my friend Feng Chao and Jeff Scott. They're not baseball guys. That's the thing with the baseball card game. It's hard to kind of continue to do that when they don't know. But, Eric, you could have said, hey, Aaron knows the baseball card game. I know the baseball card game. You have to be proactive. And I think you have been proactive, Eric, with things.
Thanks.
That's
But
a
you
nice,
also,
nice way to bring in the new year.
right,
That's very nice.
being proactive.
Sure.
But I want you to be proactive in my world. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
not just be proactive, but proactive specifically for Brody.
Yeah, proactively set for Brody.
Pro
standards.
Brody. Pro Brody.
Yeah, like how.
In Brody's world. That's
You know,
how you word it. Yeah.
Right.
I was telling them outside how much Orny Adams and you are alike, and that if I had to work with Orny, you set me up to work with Orny. You guys have a lot of similarities. And
We're both Jewish. We both changed our names around. We're both, we exercise. We're like,
You're male.
we're male, but we're like, I think
funny.
we're like blue collar
Funny.
Jewish types, meaning like exercise a little bit, like macho. There's not a lot of macho Jewish guys, are there? Is there? Or is there not a lot of macho
No.
guys? Period.
Josh Wolf.
Adam Ege.
I would say Josh is
oh,
macho.
God damn it!
God
I would
damn it.
say Adam.
Adam is
Egan.
macho. He's pretty.
I wouldn't mess with
think-
Adam.
Because I feel like his mind is crazy.
It's not a fight, but it's not necessarily a fight. Being macho doesn't necessarily mean you're a fighter.
That's
Right.
true.
I'm equating it more with like masculinity.
Joe Rogan.
Well, Rogan's
Macho.
macho and a fight. I
Yeah.
call him a fighter also. I wouldn't want to like mess with Rogan.
No.
No.
But he's not Jewish. This is for
Oh,
Jews.
that's right. So,
This is Jews only.
we forgot about
Jews
that.
only
bad.
conversation.
My bad.
Jews
I
only
verstehe.
conversation.
So we're going to do the podcast. We have two guests. Eric's at the table. We have Aaron here on the ones and twos, producing, audio, checking, helping out with things. Great guy. We have a dog in the room. Dogs are welcome. We have a dog here, or a wolf on the back of Feng Chao's phone case. So a lot of, we're saying goodbye to Year of the Dog. Year of the Dog ends on February 4th. So we still have a Chinese New Year. You know about the Chinese New Year?
I do.
Feng Chao? Is that racist for me to say?
This is my year now.
This is your.
Year of pig. I'm the year of pig.
You were born in Year of Pig?
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
1983. Yeah.
So you do know that stuff.
I do know. You're supposed to wear something red, so to get rid of the bad spirit. Usually it's like underwear or like a belt, socks.
A red belt.
where the hell are
Yeah.
your spirits?
Well,
You got
according
kinda
to
maroon.
Chinese
In your
people.
underwear?
But it hasn't kicked in just yet.
Not yet.
No.
February
it's just-
4th.
yeah, that's the Luna. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But what about Year of the Dog? Was I supposed to do anything specific in terms of wearing clothes? Colors?
Just don't date any girl born the year of rooster, because according to Chinese people, like those two kind don't.
Roosters and dogs don't get along?
Right. But I'm not making.
I thought it was
things up.
dogs and cats. It's not. It's dogs and roosters.
Roosters, yeah.
There
Because
you
we
go.
have like a 4-character idiom. It's just in Chinese it's called 鸡犬不宁. It just literally means like rooster and dogs, they don't get along together. And then because we have the year of, if you're born year of dog, right? If you date someone was born in year of rooster, according to Chinese culture, don't date that girl.
Don't-
It's not gonna end well.
I think DMX made a song about that.
Yeah, what is it called?
Where my dog's at.
Whoop.
There you
There
go.
it is.
Was he a year of the rooster? So we're here today. We're at All Things Comedy. My name is Brody. We have Eric. We have Jeff. We have Feng Chao. And I am excited to be back. It's 2019, and
Yes.
we roll right into this podcast. We roll into it. We're live now on Twitter. We're
What?
live now
Insane.
on Periscope. We are live
Yes.
here in person. I don't think we're live on any other platforms. Later on, you can listen to us. This will be released in a day or two. We are doing, this is podcast episode 60, I think, maybe 61, something of that nature. And I made a commitment to All Things Comedy and Aaron over a year ago. I said, I will be here at my time every Wednesday when I'm in town, which I usually have been. I will be here. And we've been knocking out these podcasts. And at the end of the day, it is about content. It is about doing the podcast. You know, a lot of people say it's about promoting. I think actually promoting may have actually more reach than doing the podcast itself. But I have to get better at that this year.
No, but I think it's gonna be. I think with podcast, it's just like you said in the present right now. We all know each other. We're gonna have a good time, talk about silly stuff or
Silly
whatever,
stuff.
whatever
Silly
stuff it is
stuff.
in New Year, and
I'll throw a few wrenches.
Eric will throw a few wrenches into it.
yeah.
And make sure that if you're watching live to send us questions for the guests and for Brody if you have them. Send them on Twitter to at Brody is me friend.
That's a great idea, Eric. We are interactive. Unlike other podcasts,
Hashtag
we
Festival of Friendship.
are interactive.
We'll answer questions.
We'll answer questions.
I didn't know that.
Oh, we were saying that if when I'm on, I'll speak Chinese here and there, and then we're gonna get 8
to 10
8 to
Chinese
10 followers from China. That's all we can.
Is China open to Twitter? Is Twitter available
No
in
Twitter,
China?
no.
They don't allow it. So Jack Ma,
Sorry,
Alibaba
China.
said no. He's in charge of that. He should start his own Twitter.
He should, but he has the power, though. He has.
He's the Jeff
Twitter.
Bezos of China.
Yeah, he's pretty big.
You were speaking about him recently
Jeff
in the parking
Bezos?
lot.
Oh yeah, because one of my that's a crazy story because I have this loser friend that I don't like the guy, but I hang out with the guy just to speak Chinese.
Okay, and we will go into that. I'm a positivity guy, but we will go into that. We will analyze that.
Okay.
And
Loser. Go ahead, Eric.
One more quick thing for the viewers and everybody who listens on iTunes. If you're listening on iTunes at the Festival of Sports, you need to switch over to the Festival of Friendship. That's important for our RSS feed. So if you guys can go ahead and do that, we can.
Do they know what RSS feed means? Do they know what it means when you say switch over?
Switch over as in go to listen to it at the Festival of Friendship on iTunes. Don't listen to it on Festival of Sports.
That's what we're going to, because Festival of Sports is great and that's fine, but I think I need to focus on
You're branching
friendships.
Out. You're branching out.
But I branched out. Now I'm branching back. I'm branching back, but I'm keeping the branch. I'm setting it aside. The Festival of Sports branch. I set it
so
down.
it's not broken.
No, it's not broken. But I did. I mean, I got it off the tree and I put it in. It's alive. I put it into like a vase of water, and it's off on the side. But I feel like Festival of Friendship. I at one point I thought like it ran its course and it was kind of corny, the name and this and that, and then it was used in wrestling. There was a segment on wrestling on WWE with what's his name, Jericho, and another character just like a year or two ago, and they had a Festival of Friendship segment on wrestling, WWE. In fact, there's caricatures, there's cartoons about it. So I said, I'm taking it back. So that's when I kind of took it back.
I see.
And I've just been kind of like pushing it back into this direction. 2019, we're going to go Festival of Friendship, because I need to cultivate my friendships.
And
that's what I'm working on.
Connection, Chris Jericho from Fozzy. They have a band, Fozzy.
Yes.
They're friends with my buddies in Atlanta. And there's your connection, Chris Jericho.
They're friends with your friends in...
I've met Jericho. He's a really cool dude. Yeah. Go listen to Fozzy. I was just promoting somebody else.
What is the Jericho?
Yeah. Chris Jericho's a wrestler. So you're saying your friend in Atlanta.
Jesse Cage, yeah.
Who's Jesse Cage?
He's an Atlanta DJ, radio DJ.
Okay, and
he's friends with Fozzy and all those guys. Chris Jericho. I said connections. It would be like
Connections.
It would be like you saying Mike Brazillo or.
Is this?
I think it's a little
It's a stretch.
It's a stretch. Why are you stretching things,
My
Eric?
bad.
Well, I'm giving you an opportunity here, and you're pulling these connections out that aren't really connections. You know a DJ in
non-connection.
Atlanta. He probably knows every band.
That's probably true.
So
Yeah.
we don't need to.
Well, you can just edit this out, right?
No, they don't get edited
No.
out. This is live.
So we don't want Eric to stretch things or throwing monkey wrenches. Both things.
I'm into being organic.
Was that a monkey wrench?
That was a screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver.
Okay,
Phillips.
that's not a wrench, but it's a Phillips screwdriver.
And they're always the wrong
It's
size.
so funny.
With the Phillips.
There you
never-
go.
You never get the right size first time.
Well, let me go ahead and give you guys a proper introduction. I'm Stephen Brody Stevens. It's 2019 here in Burbank, California at All Things Comedy. I'm excited to be back here doing my podcast on a weekly basis. It takes place in one form of another or another. We're on Twitter. We're on Periscope. We are going to be on iTunes and other platforms as well. I enjoy being here. I enjoy having guests on, and our booker of recent, Eric Aligny, brought in two. He's not just sticking two guests together. These guests have there's a significance. They both work at the Comedy Store. They both know each other. They both know me. They're both good guys. They are there. They're there. They're part of what's happening at the Comedy Store. And it's not always you get to talk to a guy who is the house pianist. Is that what we call it?
Yeah.
The house pianist. And then one of the door guys. Is that the actual title? You just call it a door guy?
Yeah, the door host.
It's not
door
often
guys.
you get a Comedy Store door guy on a show, and you're getting the house pianist on the show. So these guys see things that not everybody get to see, and we don't always get to hear their story. And that's what my podcast does. We get to hear stories from people you don't always get to hear stories from, or get them see them together telling the stories when it's together. I'm trying to get all my words together today. In conjunction, when people are
There you go.
No,
That's a good one.
no. When people are telling stories in not cohesive, they're not in coordination. They're telling stories together in
Unison.
not. Okay, we'll say unison. You don't hear that very often.
Yeah, never.
So we have a guest here.
Unison.
He moved to America at a young age. He is of Chinese descent. Is that the word?
Like Chinese decent?
Chinese decent. And he's been at the Comedy Store for several years now, and he's doing a great job there. He brings a lot of positive energy. He's somebody, when I go to the Comedy Store, I check in with. I check in to get a temperature of what's going on, whether it be in the original room or the main room. I go, how's it going? What do you think? What's your plan? What do you think I should do? I always like to ask the door guys, like, what do you think?
Right. I think that's a thing. I feel like that's a very smart thing when you come in to see, like you said, to see the temperature of the room, because I'm the one who's in the room. I can see the energy level, or like how the crowd is, because I get to see a lot of you guys to perform, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's one of the things. It's just very smart when you get in. You're like, hey, what's up? Da 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 da. You kind of know what's going on.
I check in.
You have the first experience with the audience.
Right.
As
And
the
so
door
is
guy,
so is
bringing
Jeff
them
too.
in and talking to them and seating them, and you can tell right out the gate, oh, this one's going to be trouble, or there's just those. You get the first read
Right.
on them.
I like to get a feel. I'll check with the door guys to get a feel for what's happening. That is what I do with a lot of the guys. It's a check-in. It's engaging, having them feel like it's a part of the show with me. I feel like they're up there with me. I like to share. I'm a teacher. So
Yeah.
I'm with these guys. And that man you hear right now, his name is Feng Chao. Yes, you got it. Here he is, Feng Chao.
Thank you for having me.
So we have Feng Chao on the podcast today. He's been at the Comedy Store for several years, working there, and we'll go into that a little bit. And then on his left, my right, across the table, he is the Comedy Store pianist. I'm going to say you've been there 25 years now? 24, 22, 18, 23.
I just finished 22, so
20
tonight when I go into work, I'll be starting 23 years.
His 23rd year at the Comedy Store. He's there in the original room. He was there at the Comedy Store Festival on stage for a big moment a few weeks ago at the Fonda Theater. This guy, he keeps track of the room, keeps the timing of the room, keeps the sets up the room, starts the room, plays the guys on, plays the ladies off, plays music if need, like specific music.
Yeah,
he's a part of the show, and he can help out the show, like give it some energy, need a little boost. We'll play along with Jeff. Sometimes we let it breathe, sometimes we push. Bottom line is we have fun in the original room, and he's got his name up on the wall. I don't think there's any other, I don't think any other, there's not too many non-stand-ups.
True, I was the first.
You were the first to have your name up on the wall, and he is there pretty much almost every day.
Yeah.
He can get days off,
5
of course.
nights a week.
5 nights a week.
Tuesday through Saturday.
Tuesday through Saturday at the Comedy Store. It's the first time having him here on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the very talented Jeff Scott. Yes, you got
I
it.
know everybody.
Jeff Scott, podcasting. This is what, your 11th or 12th ever podcast?
Something like that. Although I think this is, well, I know this is the first one I've done that is going out live, and I think it might be the first that has video with it. I don't think we run video at the Comedy Store, do we? Stream it. It's just strictly audio.
And you did my old Nerd Rager podcast.
Oh, that's
way back,
right.
and that was no video.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
Erica
yeah,
Ligney
yeah.
speaking there, Nerd Rager. Remember, Eric, there's
was
an
one of my
audience.
earliest-
Here's my advice
It's not
for
a-
Eric.
it's not
I'm
a
going to give you an
podcast
advice.
anymore.
I understand, but we have listeners that don't know Nerd Rager. They don't know the Atlanta DJ who knows somebody who knew somebody who knows somebody. So understand there's an audience. Eric, can you keep you're looking at the Periscope right now.
I'm
Turn
looking
the
I'm looking for questions.
We're not going into questions yet. You're going into questions. You're going into the baseball card game. You're doing these connections. I want you to just
Be present.
be present, be relaxed,
Breathe.
and understand there's an audience. There's an audience.
There is.
At home, somewhere, maybe, listening, possibly. Because
Possibly
ladies and
watching.
So we have another guy here who's helped with the bookings. I'm giving him a chance, meaning like, not a chance, like I needed help. I needed help. So I said, let's get some bookings. And he said, let's bring in 2 guests. You get the 2 guests, you get the energy going. Eric does understand how the internet game works. He understands, you understand the structure of things. I'm trying to get you to work on, or at least understand my angle that I come from an organic. I come at it from this way. You may come at it from that way. I'm not telling you to change, but I'm saying understand where I'm coming from.
I'm Ralph's and you're Trader Joe's.
Very
More
good.
organic.
Yeah, I can see that.
If you want to look at it that way, okay, you're Ralph's and I'm Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Trader Bros.
But you both
Trader Brody's.
are selling the same product that keeps us alive.
I guess we are. Food and sustenance and all that stuff. So,
HIV medication.
Talking, parking spaces.
talking, parking spaces, all that stuff. So Feng Chao, you're here. Ladies and gentlemen, you were raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Is that correct?
I think I grew up there. Like as an adult, I was born in China.
You were born in China.
born in China. Born and raised in China.
You were
Beijing.
raised in China.
Yeah, I didn't leave. Yeah, I left China when I was like 26.
Wait, you were in China for 26
Yeah.
years.
Yes.
Wow.
Very Chinese.
You are very Chinese. I thought you
100%.
I thought you came from China to America when you were a youngster, not 26.
Like 26
Milwaukee-
months.
Yeah, 26 months, not 26 years.
26 years. Yeah. I came in with a solid green card, a cute baby, and a white wife.
So you had a white wife. You met her in China.
Yeah.
And what was she over there for?
She was teaching English. She was teaching English.
So she was your English teacher.
Someone else English teacher. I just met her at a bar and made a baby.
Did you want to come to America? Was that your goal?
I did, but when we moved, the goal wasn't to come to America. The goal was to live my life, but like to come to America because me and my wife back then decided that we want our kid to grow up here in America because we feel he has a chance to be a kid when he grew up. In China, like I grew up in Beijing, like just the stress and pressure about being like academically really good and follow the like footsteps from your like family and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's very exhausting, and I just didn't want my kid to have that.
Is Beijing considered like? Is it a New York City of China?
Yeah, it's just like New York City with like 22 million Chinese people in that city.
Is it
like New York?
Is it westernized?
Very
Is there
westernized.
Starbucks? Is there all those
Del
Jersey
Taco.
Mike's, Del Taco?
No Jersey Mike's, no Del Taco, no Starbucks, KFC.
They love
Pizza
KFC
Hut.
in China.
Yeah, people love KFC in China. I mean, like Chinese people just love fried chicken. Period. Like if Popeye made it out to China, I think they're gonna be very popular too.
Really? Popeyes?
Yeah.
Because the one on Laurel Canyon, I won't step foot in. I don't do Popeyes. I think it's just too greasy and too.
Oh, yeah?
There's not a lot of there's not a lot of like chicken on there.
And their staff really doesn't. When you go to a Popeyes, you don't get good food. It's like it doesn't taste like.
I don't know if I've ever eaten Popeyes.
I've eaten a bunch of it by me.
I love.
Can we be positive about what you said about
I don't
Popeyes? Now,
have
what did you
to
say about
now.
Popeyes,
It's
Eric?
the
You said the staff.
Yeah, no, they don't take care of like the grease. That you can taste the grease. It tastes like it hasn't been cleaned.
Yeah.
That's every Popeyes I've been to.
Oh, the grease
in
they
LA.
cook the food in?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
Well-
you can taste it. You can taste like it ain't clean.
And what do when you go to Popeyes and you taste the grease in the chicken? Do you
I eat
say
it.
something about it?
Nope, just eat it. I know. That's just the way it is.
And then maybe
Save it for a
buy
podcast.
your chicken somewhere else and save it for a podcast of friendship.
You know what I did the other day?
wish I
Speaking of
bought chicken.
food, just like a side note, I was at this really good, authentic Chinese restaurant. I was eating the food. It was really good food. I was homesick. It was really good Chinese food, authentic. I was eating the food, and then I saw there's like a hair in there, and I pick out the hair.
Oh.
I'm like, this is a validation of how Chinese this food is. You know, I didn't even say anything. I put the hair on the other side. I just kept eating the food.
That makes it authentic.
Yeah, because duh, like I to me in a weird way, like if I was in China, if I would have a different behavior. If I lived in China, I'd be like, "Get your manager over here. Here's a hair in my food."
You would say that in China.
I would say it like this is for free now.
China seems scary. Is that true?
It's pretty
Our
scary.
it-
It's pretty-
I mean, I would.
Scary in what way? In a lot of ways.
Can you walk the streets at night?
Yeah, but China is scary in a way to Americans if you like, to a different way. Like in
Culture
in
shock.
China, like in Beijing, yeah, like a reverse culture shock. Like in Beijing, because my wife, she's still white. Like
She is. She's still white.
She's still white.
Okay.
She kept that up, huh?
She used
all
to.
these years?
There you go.
Like she lived in Beijing for like almost 10 years. She's saying that in Beijing, you can walk around any corner of the city at any time of the day. You don't have to worry about anything.
Really?
Well, what I'm saying about being worried, I'm like
Like
if
scary. Like
getting
don't talk
taken.
shit.
Getting taken
don't
away.
talk shit about the government. You're fine.
That's what I'm getting at.
Don't protest. You're fine.
You just protested a hair in your food. Can you get thrown away to a camp?
They just make you vanish if you're protesting. If you're protesting for the hair, for the food, that's fine. If you're protesting for the government's gonna do something. Like we all heard what happened in 1989. So like, of course, I have faith in my government that not.
Were you
they're not
there? So
afraid.
you were there when all that was
I
going
like
down.
6.
Were you out there with the tanks,
I was.
standing in front of them? Because it looked familiar. So that's Feng Chao. You know he's from China. And we also have Jeff Scott. Jeff Scott, have you been to China? My guess is no.
No. No, I've never really been anywhere.
You haven't been anywhere outside of the United States.
Canada and Aruba.
Aruba? I mean, that's international.
Yeah, that was nice.
You went to Aruba. Now, Jeff Scott, from what I know, you were born in Ohio.
Yes.
Raised in Cleveland.
Yes.
Then you
Kent, and then Cleveland.
There you go, Kent
although
and
I was
Cleveland.
born in Cleveland.
But you're Ohio.
Yeah.
And you moved out here. You went to San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
You worked at SeaWorld.
Correct. Good memory.
I know that. You were, I don't know if you worked at the La Jolla Comedy Store, but I know you're at SeaWorld, and I know now that you're at the Comedy Store. And I also know that you do a great Pee Wee Herman impersonation. You dressed up as Pee Wee.
Yeah.
And also, every Halloween, you have one of the best costumes. Every year, you put a lot of time and a lot of effort into your costumes, and they are like right out of the movies, your costumes for Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, in another life, I think I would have enjoyed being a special effects makeup artist.
Yeah, you have a real
So-
talent for that.
So I dabble in it. Yeah.
So how did you get involved in comedy? How were you drawn into the comedy world?
Well, like you said, I worked at SeaWorld. I was at the Ohio SeaWorld. They sent me to San Diego during the winter months when the Ohio park was closed. And then when I finished my contract, I was like, the weather is really nice. Mom, Dad, love you guys, but I'm going to move to California. And when I started in when did I move out here? 88.
1988, my final year of high
1988.
school. You moved out to San Diego in 1988.
No, to L.A.
You moved out to L.A.
Yeah, I was in San Diego the winter of 87, 88, and then the fall of 88, I moved out here.
Gotcha.
Week before Halloween.
Now, when you were working at SeaWorld, what were you doing exactly at SeaWorld?
I was I had to make sure that the dolphins didn't screw people.
Blackfish.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
No,
they do that.
I was-
Dolphins do attack.
I was the comedic mime at the Sea Lion and Otter show that messes with audience people as they come in for each show, and then do a little bit of stuff up on the stage. And then in the evening, I had the first summer that we did this laser and fireworks show.
Uh-huh.
There was no. I mean, now that's just like so stock for amusement parks. But in 87, we were the first amusement park in the world or in the country to put together moving lasers and laser beams all over the audience, along with fireworks at all time to music and stuff.
And that was great for the animals. They loved it. They
They
were not distracted at all.
Thoroughly
Great
enjoyed
for
it.
the animals.
Yeah.
I always thought it was kind of interesting because I knew they had SeaWorld in Ohio, and I was
Yeah.
wondering, like, there's no salt water. How did they do it?
They import it cup by cup. Anybody that's coming to
But was the SeaWorld right there on Lake Erie, or was it
no.
inland?
It's about an hour out of Cleveland in a smaller city called Aurora, and it's on a lake. And on the other side of the lake is an amusement park called Geauga Lake that was there forever and ever. As a matter of fact, if you combine Geauga Lake, the actual lake itself, and SeaWorld, it's bigger than Disneyland here in California.
We got a lot of land out there.
They have a lot of land. Yeah.
Ohio is actually known for they have Great America. That's like the biggest. They have the biggest roller coasters there. That's in Cincinnati, though.
Cedar Point.
So Ohio is known for that.
Yeah.
So you're working there. Did you get to like?
Yeah, because I mean, during the winter, they would bring animals from the other parks, train them, build the sets for the other parks. So in the summer, at the San Diego park or the Florida park or eventually Texas, over a weekend they could put a brand new show up. New animals, you know. I hate to tell people this, there are more than one Seymour and more than one Clyde
And Shamu.
and Shamu.
Wait, Shamu was not just one killer whale?
He was once.
He just passed away this year. One of the Shamus.
Yeah, probably. But I think that was Phil.
Phil, his name was Phil.
Phil Shamu.
When you were working there, did you have, because now people associate SeaWorld with some problems. Did that ever cross your radar at that point? Did you ever feel like they're being, not humane to the dolphins, to the otters, to the walruses, or all those shows?
When I was a kid, no, because I was in the tanks behind the scenes.
Wait, you were actually
with the-
in the tanks?
Yeah, and the Sea Lion Dolphin show, they would quite often end up having a sea lion push you into the tank if they were feeling particularly amused on that afternoon.
Did you ever get to swim with the dolphins?
No.
Do you get to touch
Not
them?
the
You've
dolphins.
touched them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I took photos with Shamu, not on Shamu, but in my Pee Wee costume, touching Shamu. And it's crazy when you see this, you're, leaning over the glass edge of the tank, and this little black dot, they're like, okay, he's going to just propel himself up and open his mouth. And that little dot gets to be like 5 feet wide of teeth.
Right.
That one was a little freaky. Gave me a lot of respect.
So you were up close to these killer whales.
The animals. I did pictures inside the penguin encounter. And they're like, don't put your hands down. They bite. Otters are very mean. They bite too.
They do.
They're cute, but they bite.
So do you? So
I was like their media spokesman. Hosting this laser and fireworks show, which we did twice a night, 7 nights a week.
Right.
And then I went to San Diego and performed in a show called City Streets down there, and then came back, finished my second summer, and decided that L.A. is the place to go.
So how did you end up at the Comedy Store from SeaWorld?
When I got to L.A., the very first night I went out, the first week I was in Los Angeles, it was like a couple days before Halloween, and I went to see this lady, my friend Beverly, used to do a show called The Gong Show at the Rage at the gay bar, and it was just, basic gong show, talent, whoever could sign up. And after the show, I thought this one girl was particularly funny. And since I didn't know anybody there, she happened to be standing beside me, and I introduced myself. She was a legal secretary that was, trying to do stand-up.
Right.
And I said, hi, I'm Jeff. I just moved here. And she said, well, hi, I'm Sherry Shepard.
Oh, Sherry Shepard?
Yeah.
This is 1988?
88, yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so Sherry was like the first comic that I met. And she, through her, I met my friend Penny Wiggins, who's for years has been the Amazing Jonathan's assistant up in Las Vegas.
Okay.
But Penny started a show called Sirens of Satire, and I played piano for that, and then we did it moved in at the Improv, and I think it was there for like 6 or 7 years.
On Melrose.
And once a month. And since they had a piano, I played piano for that.
At the Improv.
I
did not know that.
I did not know that. You played.
Once a month. And there was always Ellen DeGeneres hosted once.
That's cool.
I'm trying to think if I know Carol Leifer did once. I think Paula Poundstone.
I was just going to say her name.
Yeah, they would have and the other girls are now famous, but back then the other performers weren't as famous. But Penny would always have a real famous female performer.
Right.
And, some of them did some music stuff, and I got to work with them. And so that's when Bud Friedman and Mark Lano.
They ran and owned the Improv.
Astro, they were all, they were very nice to me.
So you were doing it.
So I was sort of doing that, playing piano for a murder mystery troupe. I was playing piano for a sketch troupe. During the day, I was working at an attorney's office because I had no skills other than performing. So I was just answering phones for an attorney. And my neighbor told me, he said, oh, I wrote this down for you. He said there was an ad on the ticker on community television. And it said, Hollywood nightclub seeks pianist. And he wrote the phone number down.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, well, thanks. But, I'm thinking to myself, I don't read music. I don't read sheet music.
You don't?
I play by ear. And if I have to play for a singer, I got to sort of take some time and figure it out. I'm not that gifted where I can just sit down and, nail it. So I thought it's some nightclub like that, playing karaoke or whatever, and it's just beyond my skill. And I let that piece of paper sit there. And at this point, I was actually, I wasn't working for the attorney. I was just doing temp work. And
this is 88.
Yeah.
Okay, 1988.
Yeah, it was coming up. It was the first week of December, and I think I came home. Yeah, I came home from this temp job. Oh, and that day at the temp job, they're like, "This is the last day."
But it's temp. You got to go.
But I had enough money that I could pay like the next 4 months' bills, and rent. So that was all cool. There was one message on my answering machine, and. No, that's not right. Oh, yeah.
Fax machine.
No.
Homing pigeon.
My homing pigeon. It was my neighbor, and he called and he said, hey, did you ever call that number? And, I thought, well, okay, I'll call just to be polite for my neighbor. This is like 2 weeks or 3 weeks since he'd given me the number. And they answer World Famous Comedy Store.
Oh.
And I get connected to the vice
It was Quincy
president. It was.
They don't, Eric, hold a thought. Nobody knows who Quincy is. I mean, I like Quincy.
I know Quincy.
Eric, I know Quincy. You know, the listeners don't know Quincy Weekly.
They will soon.
You know what? What would have been funny if you said like Pauly Shore, or you said Dice was working the phone, but you go Quincy. I like Quincy. We love Quincy.
Can we have a redo?
Nobody on the podcast knows who Quincy is.
Can we do a redo?
No, we can't. Continue, Jeff.
Okay.
So I called, and they, it was the Comedy Store, and I went in the very next day since I didn't have any more temp work. And I auditioned for Mike, and he asked if I had references for, working at a comedy club. And
Improv.
Yeah, I told him about that. And then my friend Steve Moore, who was a paid regular and helped raise Pauly Shore and Peter, he was a friend of mine through my buddy Taylor Negron. I met comics all before I got to the store. I just met them here and there. It's like now I can look back and see the thread that went to the Comedy Store. Then I just didn't put it all together. But when I told him, well, Steve can vouch for me, he's like, oh, well, okay. You want to start tomorrow? And I started December 9th.
Wow. And you've been there 22 years.
Starting 23.
Wow.
So that's how Jeff ended up at the Comedy Store where he's still at. Feng Chao.
Yes.
How did you end up at the Comedy Store?
That's I have
in less time than
there.
I took.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. No. This is
That's just a
this
story.
is podcast. This is long form stories. You get to talk them out, and now we're seeing the story being shaped together. Feng Chao, 26 years in China.
Yes. How do I get hired as store? I moved to Los Angeles in 2014.
But you went to Milwaukee, correct? Like you went from 26 years in China.
I was in Milwaukee from 2009 to 2013.
So only 4 years.
4.
So you moved to
4 years,
to America in 2009?
Yeah. 2009.
Oh wow! I thought you'd been here longer than that.
2009.
Did you speak English in China?
I did. I spoke English. I did. I learned English because I always wanted to fuck a white girl, and I'm like, I learn English. Just like baby step, right?
I thought there was going to be some deep, profound
thought. But that's funnier than.
We try to keep it. We try to keep it clean,
Oh,
but
I just okay.
you wanted to be with a white girl.
Yeah.
You were attracted to white girls,
Yeah.
or were you attracted? That was your way to get into America.
No, because Chinese girls are all very expensive because their parents want you to have so much money to marry them.
Crazy
White
rich
girls
Asians.
marry for love. I'm like, I have love.
Crazy rich Asians, exactly.
Yeah.
Good call, Eric. Thank you.
Not all white girls marry for love.
Well, not all Chinese girls marry for money neither. So
Oh, okay. Point taken.
So you go to. How did you end up in Milwaukee? Is that where she's from, or is that where they said you got to go? If you're coming to America, we put you in Milwaukee.
I'm a Chinese guy. We don't have enough Chinese guys in Milwaukee. Put them there.
Well, I mean, isn't that how immigration works? They figure it out. You're Chinese. Where do they need them? Milwaukee. Boom, you're there.
Work that way.
Put them on the train.
Haiti, Florida.
That's so funny. No, that's my ex-wife. Like my ex-wife family is. So we went there to start. Her families. They have a baby. They can help with the baby, and.
And what did you want to do? Was this something that you always wanted to be a comedian in America?
No, I never thought that way. No. What I really wanted to do, I wanted to have like a travel business. That's my goal to do it because I worked for like a travel agency for like 6 years in Beijing. I know some people. But Milwaukee. I do know some people.
Wow, that's some sort of code there.
I can make a phone call to make something happen, right? Like the appropriate.
Make something happen.
But yeah, I just now I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay, so you're in China.
You work in travel agency.
You wanted to be a travel agency, and then Expedia came out, Travelocity, all the apps, and it's like we don't need a travel agent.
Yeah.
We could do it on our own.
Yeah. No, but it's because of the size of Milwaukee. Because not a lot of Chinese people want to go visit Milwaukee. They want to see New York. They want to see.
But didn't
Los
they have?
Angeles.
They did Arnold from Happy Days, Mr. Miyagi. He was Chinese.
Was
Happy Days was based in Milwaukee.
Yep.
Oh, really?
So he was the one.
He was. Did he inspire you, Mr.
I don't
Miyagi
even-
from
I don't
Happy
even
Days?
know who Mr. Miyagi is.
What?
I really don't know.
I think he was Japanese.
Shame on
actually.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think he was Japanese.
So you get to Milwaukee.
Yeah, I got there and I was living my life with my wife and kid, and it just didn't work out. We both fucked up, and then we both messed up.
Messed up. Please, let's keep it,
Well, no, I
let's keep it
understand.
clean.
Yeah.
Exactly.
3-second delay.
Yeah.
He is Japanese.
Ah.
Who?
Pat
Mariota.
Morita.
Of course he is. I was doing a bit.
No.
You don't think I knew that Pat Morita
But I was looking
was,
him up.
was Japanese?
But I wasn't looking him up for that reason. I was looking him up so Feng could know who he was.
Let him find out later. We're doing a podcast, Eric.
He was a
We
character.
talk into the mics. We're
The
doing a
characters in Happy
podcast.
Days would go to his
We got to talk in the
restaurant
mic,
to
Jeff.
eat.
See, we're on the
They
podcast.
would eat hamburgers at
We're on
his
the
restaurant.
podcast.
Yeah.
All right. So you're in Milwaukee.
Yeah. To live my married life.
You want to be married. You got the kid. You've got the white wife,
Still
the
white,
perfect
yeah.
American dream.
Still white.
We have a dog too. Yeah.
At what point did you start doing stand up?
At the end of my marriage, and I started doing stand up. Like I started doing comedy because I got a divorce. I was just like I just felt like I'm so alone in this country. I have no friends and family in America. I'm not trying to be sappy.
No,
but it's just
you can't. This is a
fact.
podcast.
It's
You're
just
allowed
a
to.
fact.
So
and-
you were sad. You were lonely.
Yeah.
You were divorced,
yeah.
and
And I was drinking a lot too. Like I would start drinking like 10 in the morning.
Damn.
that's what people do in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
They
Well,
like to
sure.
drink
Pretty
beer.
sure that fit in
That
Milwaukee
Midwest.
too.
They make beer there.
But and then around that time, one of my friend said that, hey, we used to work together. Like this guy, I used to work with this guy Greg at Target third shift. I was always the guy that's sitting at the cool kids table talking shit to everybody. Everybody just laughed because they were like, oh, the Chinaman is talking shit too. I was like, oh yeah, of course. What do you do? That's what guys do to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Bust
Don't
balls.
be Don't be vulnerable. If you're vulnerable, everyone's gonna trash you. It's just like a fun game to do.
You say don't be vulnerable.
Yeah,
think
don't be
that's- I think
because
that's
if
what
you
he said.
are,
I think being vulnerable is good.
It's
yeah,
funny.
Yes, but the thing is, like, if I say, hey guys, I'm trying so hard to hold this girl Maggie's hand, and you guys are like, oh yeah, but like then work harder, right? 'Cause
Okay.
I feel like if you are vulnerable that way, and your friends are gonna be like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm the type of friend, if
You either get laughed at or you're laughing.
yeah, because I feel
Yeah.
like it's all.
Laugh
It's a
with,
fight.
laughed at. But how did it get? I want to see how that
Well,
led to you going on stage.
I
Did they
just
say,
didn't-
Feng Chao, you're funny? Feng Chao, you have
buddy-
anger? Feng Chao, just get up here and talk.
my buddy, like, he's like, you always talk trash to people. Just get on stage, try the open mic, see how you like it. Because at the time, nothing made me feel anything. I was just really depressed, and like in that moment. And I was thinking about I don't know what to do. And my buddy's like, hey, try this. And then one time I did this like open mic, nobody goes. So, like I had a dive bar like on a Sunday.
That's typical.
Yeah. I signed up. I didn't have the guts to go up, and then the open mic was over, and then my friends are like, "Why aren't you go up?" Like they bought me like a round of shots, and I took shots. I bombed horribly. There's nobody in there, but it made me feel something. It made me felt like, oh, for the first time I'm feeling something. It's like you're bombing, you're embarrassed, you're whatever, rather than to get me out of that. Like I just messed up my marriage or like
the depression.
yeah, I just felt that is really good feeling in me. So I start from that
And what year was that?
2013.
So 2013, you take the stage. Now, when you're 26 years of growing up in Beijing, do they have stand-up there in China?
We do.
Did it ever cross your mind of doing stand-up there? Never did. You just wanted to.
I think it's a different concept because they're like, no matter, like we have two different forms. One like it's one person like a stand-up, you're talking in Chinese, in Mandarin. And the other one's like two people on stage, like it's like a duo, like a crosstalk.
Like
Yeah.
this podcast.
Sklar Brothers.
sort of. But
Abbott and
Sort of.
Costello.
Chinese.
Abbott and Costello.
Abbott and Costello. See, you said,
comedy
you said
duo.
Sklar Brothers. That's like too specific. Too specific. They're unique.
Bob and Ray.
People may not know them, but I do. Yes. All right. So you're in China. You didn't have that.
I never thought about doing like anything that way because it's like the form is very like on a shallow surface. Like you can't really talk about deep and dark stuff on stage. Like I would assume. Like,
did you always have that in you? Did you always have that talking trash kind of like
yeah.
attitude
I was
even over
always,
there?
Yeah. I was always I had when I grew up, I was always the kid the popular kid. I was always the popular kid and just.
So to expand and grow and really open your mind, you weren't going to be able to do that in China.
I could, but I wouldn't do it. The stuff that I talk about will be very limited. That's not going to be the thing that I want to talk about.
In the back of your mind, were you thinking, if I can marry a white girl and come to America, maybe I could do stand-up? Was it in the back of your mind, or it just popped up in 2013?
No, it's just like I felt like I did the open mic that make me feel good and make other people laugh. It's like a really good feeling.
See, I never I didn't do stand up or any kind of open mic until I was like 23 years old. I grew up here. Oh yeah, I never.
Where was your first?
Thank you for asking, Jeff. My first. Well, I took an acting class in college at Arizona State. I mean, people would tell me later on. They said, "Brody, you always said you wanted to be a comedian or you wanted to be an actor."
Yeah.
I don't really remember saying that I wanted to be a comedian. I remember saying that I wouldn't mind being involved in show business somehow. Like everyone liked who wouldn't. If you had a choice to be somebody famous, it would be kind of cool. I mean, I think a lot of people wanted that. So I had that, and I think maybe I was just naturally goofy or funny or whatever. But I was always playing baseball. I liked playing baseball. I was decent at baseball. I was like a good teammate, got along with the coaches and all that sort of thing. And then when I went to Arizona State, same thing. But when I was done playing baseball, when I hurt my arm and I knew that I really wasn't going to go on to have a chance to play professional or see where that goes, I said, you know what? I've got a couple extra credits. Why don't I take an acting class? And this was like my final year at Arizona State in Tempe.
Just to check it out, whether you
just
like it or not.
Just to see and check it, exactly. Just to see and check it out.
Yeah.
Because I was so conditioned to being at the baseball field at 2 p.m, and you're out there batting practice and doing that in the games. So this acting class, I remember, was like at 2 p.m, because I was done with baseball. That's final semester. And I took the acting class, and it was just so supportive. It was so, there was girls in there. Everyone was like, it wasn't that jock humor. I was around baseball so much, and it's always like ripping, jock humor.
Right.
And that
Bunch of athletes.
It can get old. After
Yeah,
a while, it can get old. Even though maybe they don't mean any harm by it, but, it can get old. Jew this, goofy this, gay that. What, jocks are. So for a guy like me who's vulnerable, it didn't really help my confidence. It didn't make me want to get on stage and be funny, because why do I want to showcase my problems that bother me or the people picking on me?
Right.
So anyway, I took the acting class, and it was kind of like a serious acting class, like you're doing a monologue kind of thing. And they would just end up laughing at me, they couldn't stop. They would start laughing. And then I took another acting class, and they would start laughing. And then a football player friend of mine says, Brody, you should do stand up. I didn't really know much about stand up other than maybe Andrew Dice Clay and Stephen Wright, but that was about it. And he said, you should try stand up. And then that's when I said, maybe, because I was naturally, it was like a natural thing to get laughs. So that was Arizona State. I never took a comedy class, never took an improv, never did an open mic in Arizona. When I graduated in June of 93, I came back to LA and I said, okay, I'm here. I want to learn everything about show business as quick as I can. So I worked on a student film. I worked on a USC student film where I was learning all about lights and sound and PA, learning everything. Nothing about acting. I learned everything about making these films. I didn't like it. I said, I want to be the actor guy. I could tell like that's where, but I wasn't ready for it. I knew I wasn't ready for it. But I was also taking a stand-up comedy workshop at UCLA.
Ah.
So that's when I did mine. I knew that I got to at least try, and I need structure. A lot of people say, hey, go take an open mic. You got to jump into the open mics. I come from a sports world, college. I need structure. So I remember I was looking through they had the UCLA extension, and they like the annex, and they have like classes there at UCLA.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So they had a stand-up comedy class. And the only other stand-up comedy class in LA was really like that Greg Dean's comedy workshop. There's like 2 or 3 of them. That's it. And then you would look in the LA Weekly, and you'd see they had some open mics here and there.
Yeah.
But again, I needed that structure. So it also said that it was taught by Sandy Seashore, who she just passed away in 2018, and she was Pauly Shore's sister.
Yep.
And I also knew that it was Comedy Store materials. So and the graduation would take place at the Comedy Store. So I knew if I take this UCLA workshop, I'm going to get Comedy Store teachings by somebody who's connected with the Comedy Store with our graduating class at the Comedy Store. So I had a Comedy Store notebook. I learned everything about it. And then I remember I'd go to UCLA to see if I liked it, to do my 2 minutes in front of my classmates.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I was like, I get excited. I'm doing my 2 minutes. I'm driving to UCLA. I remember I'd park and I'd go there and do the 2 minutes, and the students would, comment. They go, Brody, it's funny when you get mad. It's funny when your jokes are bomb. Same stuff they say now.
Yeah.
But I needed that. I needed that structure.
Do you remember your first joke?
No, I probably still do it, whatever that joke is. I don't know. But
I played piano for a couple of those showcases.
you may have done it.
In the May room.
I mean, you may have been in. You may have done my showcase.
I remember playing when Sebastian
took.
the
He was later
class.
than me. Yeah,
But I very well may have, because I didn't realize I played for, I think, I started there in '95. So been probably like '95 through '97.
Well, I did this in I did this. My class was
Early?
in '93.
Okay, then I did not.
So I just missed it. But it was Sunday night. It was a Sunday night, and it was
in
packed
the main
there.
room? Yep.
It was actually
like
in
a
the OR.
full-
It was in the OR, and it was
Oh,
packed.
nice.
Yeah.
That's less scary.
Oh, ours way
In the
scarier.
OR, they were doing them in the main room
Okay.
when I played for it, and it was just, I could imagine being on stage there for your first time and like, ugh.
Yeah, I was nervous, but I was ready to do it. And
But you said you were excited about it, though. Like, I feel like if you're very excited about doing something before you go in to do it, that's a good drive to do it.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. I
whatever
mean, I was
you-
excited every
Like-
day going to that workshop at UCLA, and then when I
That's a
had
good-
that final performance, you had to bring friends and all that. I had like 5 friends,
sure.
and I went up there and I had a really good set. I mean, I got laughs, and I remember people were giving me their business cards after. Hey, you have an agent, you have a manager. They were like, people were interested, and
Networking.
I felt like, oh, I'm a comedian, all right. And I remember that night I went out back to the Valley to hang out. I felt like I was a comedian, and I go, well, now I got to do open mics. So like the following, a couple days later, I went to my first open mic with another guy from the class. We went out to Chatsworth. I think the West End is the name of the place. It still might be there. And it was just like a typical LA open mic.
Yeah.
Meaning like nobody's really listening. You got a
That's the
guy
comics.
hosting the show, like whatever, kid. And
Yeah.
I knew right then and there after that first open mic, I go, you know what? I get it. I see this path. I'm not going to go down. I don't want to go down this path. Not in my neighborhood. It's because I grew up in the Valley. I just had a problem with people not from there or me being treated like just a number in my neighborhood. I just didn't like it. I get it. I wasn't like anti-open mic, but for me specifically.
Yeah.
So I knew after that first open mic, I'm not going that route here in Los Angeles. And then I went back to UCLA and I took a business of comedy class. So I went there and I wanted to learn all about the business, how contracts are, how clubs, it's different now, but how clubs are run. And I was and remember the Danny Robinson, who's like Tiffany Haddish's manager or agent now, he said, if you want to do comedy, you got to get out of LA if you want to like find your voice. And then that's when they had the Northridge earthquake back in. I was just spinning my wheels. Like you were working at Target. I was working at Macy's, Bullock's, out in Topanga. And it was just, so spread out. I didn't have any comedian friends other than the few
Yeah.
guys I knew from that workshop. So that's how I got into it. And I just knew early on, we'll get back to you guys, but no, but this was an important story.
I thought we were the guests.
You are the guest. But I knew, but just to talk about the Comedy Store, even those lights can draw you in.
Oh, yeah.
My mother dated Jack, that was her boyfriend. And he lived on Altaloma, over there, Altaloma and Holloway. So he lived up in one of these buildings, and I would go there on the weekends in the mid '80s, and you could see the Sunset Strip, and you could see the lights from the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
And you just knew. I didn't know anything about comedy, but I could tell you saw that energy on Sunset Boulevard.
Right.
Even as a kid,
Right.
I could look out and I'd see that. So that was there. And then after the workshop, I would do that class at UCLA. I drive by the Comedy Store and I look at it. I just drive by and look at it. I think one time I saw like Willie Walker. What's his name? Willie
Tyler and Lester?
Well, I've seen him, but there's another guy. Guy wore like a Western, had a beard. Willie was like a Western guy.
Oh, Wild Willie?
Yeah,
Wild
Willie Parsons. I remember I drove by, saw him on the patio one time. But I just put that in my head. I visualized the Comedy Store, the lights. I didn't go in, but I just knew it. So that was that drew me there.
Yeah.
Now, how did you, Feng Chao, go
To get
from
to the
Milwaukee? We know how Jeff got there. Jeff went the SeaWorld route,
SeaWorld, yeah.
Yep.
improv.
Yeah.
I went workshop, back around, came back. How did you end up at the Comedy Store?
Well, the first year when I moved here, I didn't even know the store is here. I didn't know. All I did was open mic. I don't know anybody. I was living by, I don't know, Monterey Park. You know.
But why did you leave? Why did you leave Milwaukee?
Because I got a divorce.
You got a divorce. You said, "I'm getting out of town.
Yeah.
Completely getting out of town."
Yeah, it took me about like 6 months to make the decision because I already doing comedy. I started doing open mic. I love the thing. I want to take it very, very serious. I want to do it for forever, for a living. And I did it because from 2013 I got a divorce to 14. That whole year I did open mic in Milwaukee. Not a lot of open mics, but I kind of figure out like I see the ceiling of the city for if you want to take comedy serious. And then I just
The Sea Line, the Sea Lions.
the ceiling. Or
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Call back to.
Sea lions.
So you
That's the sound
but
effect thing.
Did you consider maybe going to Chicago or
No, I
New
never-
York?
It's to me. I never thought about going to Chicago because I feel like if you go to Chicago, next city is New York or Los Angeles. So
Right.
It's always. And I had with my travel. I did the travel agency job. Like I could go to New York or Los Angeles to do the same thing, just to, have some income, and then you gotta have some. I can't be one of. I don't know.
So you came out here to LA. You didn't know a soul. Didn't know anybody.
No, I know.
Soul's Korean.
Oh, thank you. Good.
If you spell S-O,
Good one, Eric.
I know. I didn't know anybody, but one of my good friend's cousin lived around in Monterey Park. And
Monterey Park,
I got
East LA area.
Yeah, I got a place there, and then I just doing open mic.
You're doing open mics.
I never know what the store is, and until one of the Milwaukee comic told me like, hey, check out this place. They have open mic on Monday, and then there's Kill Tony on Monday. I'm like, I didn't even pay attention that much, and then maybe like a month later, I'm like, oh, I'll go check it out, and then I'm like, oh, this place is cool, and then but still, I didn't get a job there. Like I'm the open mic person. I went to the store signing up for like Monday potluck, like for like almost 10 months. Every Monday I didn't get up, but I did open mic elsewhere, which is good. I feel like because the reason that I got hired is Luke helped me.
Luke Schwartz is another door guy.
He put me up on like someone got fired, and then we need a guy. The store need a new guy there, and Luke put me up in front of Adam.
Adam, Eget, the booker.
Yeah. Adam saw me before once, and then the second one was like a open mic on like a middle of the lineup, like the open mic, and I did it really good. And then the night I went to do open mic that Monday. I came back, and Luke's like, he was like, "Hey, you got the job. Do you have like a solid paperwork to work?" I was like, "Of course I do." Like, of course I do.
Right.
That's totally
I'm
Lou.
like, of course I do. I made sure before I come to America. Like, what are you talking? And I wanted to work at the store so bad, but I didn't have a way in. But it's just like because randomly, like the other door guys, they see me at open mics. They see, all they see, like I'm in the open mic scene. Like I feel like that's funny enough, like for the door guys at the store. They were like, "Hey, this guy, I see him at the open mic all the time. He's grinding. He's funny. Like we
so to be a door guy, you have to be funny also, not just to be a great door guy.
100%.
They got to like you.
And the door guys now open the show. They get a 5-minute for the past year. They get 5 minutes at the top of the show, so the first comic doesn't have to cold open.
That's a very good spot.
You know, being a door guy has a benefit. You're performing.
How have the door guys over the years changed for you, Jeff? Because it's a different. I mean, the Comedy Store right now is at the top of the game. For the last few years, definitely. But there were times when it was not as popular, or just the old way. How? What do you see with these door guys now? Is it? Are they better comedians? Are they better? Is it? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for a while, some of the door guys were just older comics that hadn't really made it anywhere and were really bitter, but at least they were able to be a door guy. And then it was just a bunch of meatheads that didn't even know what they were doing.
Yeah, they had meatheads,
for
right?
several years we had. I mean, this is early on again. I remember a guy, he was from Canada. Don't remember his name. And it was the first year I worked there. Which was Richard Pryor's last year. Oh, no, it wasn't Richard. It was Dice. It was Dice. Although the first year I worked there was Pryor's last year performing. But Dice was on stage. I was over by the cover booth and, checking the time and everything, and Dice was on. And this guy's like, "Who's that?" Door guy.
Right.
There that wants to be a stand-up comic. And who's that? That's Andrew Dice Clay. Oh, is he good? Yes. Is he famous?
Yes.
Yes. That guy didn't last but a week.
So they just didn't know. They had like meatheads working there.
Yeah, and over the years, the thing that has improved is the door guys also really pretty have to be dedicated comics now, as opposed to just some dude, that's like dabbling in it or whatever.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of turnover. You guys, these guys have been there for a while now.
Well, the guys turn over when they actually get passed and become a paid regular. Then they stop working on the door because now they're a paid regular.
That happens,
That happens. But, the turnover is not that large.
Yeah, they treat I think
But I feel like it's the bar. It's pretty high in the way. I don't know. Like, it just, I do think... I do believe I believe that Adam has like a good taste in people and in comedy, and for the guys that basically everybody got hired and now have to do like a showcase for Adam. Adam has to see it, and I think Doc is the one that told me that just you're already funny before you got hired at the store. You have to be funny before you get hired.
Yeah.
It's not like you can just...
you don't get hired and develop.
Yeah, because nobody's going to be... Like, to me, everybody, like, we know, like, if you're funny, and nobody else can take that away from you. Like, for me, like, if I'm just Feng Chao funny, and if Jeff Scott can be Jeff Scott funny, like, right? I feel like...
Right.
I read it that way.
So, but it's a respected position. The door guys. I mean, you could use them for. I bounce off ideas. I use as a comfort. You could
and like
use
I said,
them.
it's the very first interaction, other than the girl or the guy in the cover booth taking the money for the ticket, which is just hello, this much, thank you. The cover booth, the door guy is the one that welcomes them. Tells them, please don't do this and that, and the bathrooms are here, and your waitress, blah, 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 and they take you to your seat. And it's an opportunity if you can work in one little silly joke.
Yeah.
You've got a captive audience as you're walking them across the room. Not all guys do this, but I've seen some guys, and I'm very aware that they're telling jokes, goofing with the
Yeah.
people as they bring them in. Like maybe he'll say like we have better seating in the parking lot or
Moses is good with
something
that.
stupid like they play with him.
I
now
do that now because
Yeah.
I learned it from Jeff. This is what I do if I work the room, right? I'm out greeting people, right? If you and Eric and Jeff, you guys come in to watch the show, I say, hey guys, cell phone on silent.
Yep.
Please, no photo, no videotaping during the show. We have server coming to serve drinks. It's 2 drink minimum per person. Bathroom in the back. Please take care of the servers because they all do have big cocaine problems.
Oh, you say that? That's your line.
I say that.
That gets a laugh.
Just like a nonchalant in the way. I say it in the way. I feel like I'm Chinese. I have an accent. Like people are like. But the thing is, and I wait for a couple of seconds. We're like, that was the joke, and then people, oh, ha, ha. I just feel like if you do, I learned from Jeff. You do that, and then people are already relaxed. Like, if you come to the club, the first joke that you heard is about cocaine, and then it's either you're gonna like it or you don't like it.
Yeah,
Right.
we
You
all
don't
get
like this
we all
sense of
get a
humor
read on it.
because we get really real here, and I feel like that's like they ha ha ha. They're laughing before they see the show. I'm like.
What I've told Feng Chao is when I've seen an audience as I'm playing piano that comes in and just seems I'm not hearing them laugh, and it's just sort of like, oh, these people might be a little uptight, and they're all
stiff.
4 people sitting at a table that came together, and they're all on their phones with somebody else, So I will just to sort of give that. And this was again before the door guys got to do a 5 minutes. I thought I'm going to say a dumb joke. And they'll either laugh because it's so dumb, or they'll groan, or they'll ignore it, and that'll give the first comic a read of the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And it was exactly what he said. I said, tip your waiters and wait staff. They're working hard for you tonight, at least the ones that are still sober.
Yeah,
There
it's
you
like
go.
a nonchalant in the
Stupids.
way that
Yeah.
like you didn't see it coming, but like, wait a second.
So you know what I like
Yeah.
doing sometimes is getting there early. I saw Matt go up, one of the other door guys recently, go up early because I'm not there early. I'm usually on later.
True.
And then but sometimes I'll go there early. I'll make the effort because it's almost like it's not a time warp, but that room hasn't changed. You can go sit in that back of room and you're seeing it. And you see the new guys going up, and you see the beginning, and you're seeing you playing the piano. It just reminds me of when I first started. You get an appreciation for like what's going on in that room, and it's real. It's still the same.
Yeah.
It's better,
Yeah,
but it's
'cause
still the same.
I feel like similar story to your story too. Like we do every Monday for the potluck, right? The list come out at 7:00.
Right.
And when we put on the list, I always take a moment. If I take the list, I put it on the window.
Yep.
It's about 80 people looking up to see if they get to do a 3 minutes on an open
Yeah.
mic. They have their dreams, and I'm on this side looking at them. I'm like, Feng Chao, work harder. To me, I see that. To me, it's just
Why? Because you want to be on that side?
no. I'm gonna work harder because
He's grateful to be on the side he's on.
I'm just I
Gotcha.
think so. I'm just gonna work harder because everybody else is working really hard trying to
I mean, yeah, I think the door guys really make the club. You too, of course, Jeff. But you're in a unique thing. You're there.
Yeah.
You do your deal.
He's
too.
got the Jeff Scott treatment. We were just talking about it over the news. He's got Jeff Scott treatment just by himself.
Yeah, he knows what he's got his routine. He knows what he's doing. Keeps the show flowing. He's got the stopwatch in the back if you want to talk to him, in and out. But you get there early and you get to see what you guys do. You get to like see it and go, okay,
I'm always an hour early.
yeah,
Something my mentor in high school, our drama coach, taught us, because some of the kids you'd get to rehearsal and they're just screwing around and talking and enjoying goofing around, and then the director shows up and he's like, all right, places, and they're like, but we haven't put our props out and we haven't done this, and he would say, come in, do immediately what you have to do, then you can goof around until it's time to work. That's what I do. I come in, I get the room all set up, make sure the sound is right, the double check the chairs, get the lights right. Then I have my coffee, I post the lineups, and take a little silly break before the.
I mean, the thing
show
about the Comedy Store that you see, it's not really about the stand-ups. It's about the support staff. It's about the wait staff. It's the door guys. It's the people in the showroom, in the box office. That's what I see. I see all that other stuff. The comedians, it's like you're teeing it up for the comedians, the guys on the stage.
And we all have the common cause that common, not cause, but common concern of the night that let's give them a good show. We want you to have a good show. That's
Yeah.
everybody's thought.
And I think that's why the Comedy Store is so popular. You go to the other clubs, it's missing it's missing that warmth. You go, I'm not knocking the other clubs, but they're lacking in some of those.
There's no community in them.
Well, they're also, corporations owned. We're a family-owned club, so we
Right.
can be a little more lackadaisical at our jobs, which is
That
more,
does make a huge
more
difference.
inviting to people.
Yeah, that does make a huge difference. At
Yeah.
a situation like this, I think.
I mean, I can swear over the microphone in my intro if I wanted to. I could say every swear word there was, and I might be called. No, Adam would tell me, "Oh, God damn it! Why are you gonna do that before the show?" And that would be it. Versus if I had done that at the Improv, I would have been taken out in handcuffs, and that would have been the end of my career.
Yeah, there's just there's a warmth there at the Comedy Store. You're not going to walk through the kitchen in the Improv. At the Comedy Store, you're walking through the kitchen,
Yeah.
you're walking
Yeah.
through the bar, you're walking all over the place. Whereas these other places, it's not really happening.
Well, Mitzi always said it's an artist colony, which is very different than it's a place to make money.
It is an artist colony. It really is.
Yeah, you can make money there, and we are doing incredibly well. But it's an artist colony, and that's
Before
that's,
the money comes in.
Right,
Because
right.
everybody-
It's
all the
art-
artists are hanging out here.
I remember her saying to somebody once, "I don't care if you're not funny, just be true to yourself on stage. I can't stand fake."
That's what I always learned. I was just drawn to that when I took that workshop.
Yeah.
That was through the Comedy Store. Just like, Sandy would say, make it visual. She always taught me, like, make it visual. But they accepted me from I was accepted at the Comedy Store right out of the gate. I was lucky. Bobby Lee got me a showcase there, and I got passed in 2000 pretty much right out of the gate, and I felt...
That's why I wanted to ask you when you were talking about that earlier. So.
Mitzi passed you?
Mitzi passed me.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I think one time. I don't think I did. She didn't say no. She said,
I think you got passed immediately.
I got passed immediately, and I would get like a 1 a.m. spot once or twice a week.
Got it.
And they left me alone. They left. I did my late spots. I'd get like 1 to 2 spots a week, and I just knew it was just a good place to be, a good family to be a part of, and I was always late night stuff with Don Barris and craziness. So I was always. There was like, people say, there's some dark times at the Comedy Store. I kind of like rode above it. I was already in that dark world. It didn't I was already in the craziness, so I didn't even notice it. And then with the last few years, it's really just taken off, and because there's times when people go, I don't know if this place is going to stick around. There was like thoughts.
Well, when I started, I was told as soon as Mitzi dies, it'll be a parking lot.
Exactly.
And that was perpetuated over and over. And I have a feeling that was started the second she won the rights to the club in the divorce. Somebody must have said that.
Yeah.
Because that was just everybody's assumption.
Yeah.
But we're kicking ass now.
Because people need it, and that's the thing about that's a great thing
people
about
need comedy too. Like if people don't need comedy, like right now, it's really good for
people need it. And the great thing about the Comedy Store is, for people to go, it's like alpha male or macho energy. Everyone performs at the Comedy Store. Everyone's allowed, men, women, gay, no matter what nationality you are. That's the great thing about the Comedy Store. Everyone's allowed there,
Right.
and it's thriving. And then you have the podcasts, and then you have, I think that was a big thing, the podcast. Then you got the podcast studio. Just it's all for the common cause of, not about money, about growing as a comedian, being funny, and just...
Yeah, it is again, an artist colony. Everybody is there because we live, breathe, and work art. We can't do anything else.
Eric, would you like to add to something?
Oh, I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. The Comedy Store is the community where you can grow as a comedian, and I think that's what Eric Anderson and Adam want. They want comedians to want to. And Adam even told me this other night. He's like, even the comedians that hang around, but they hang around for the right purposes, they're good for the club.
What are give me an example.
Learning from you, learning from Don Barris, Jeff Scott. You can learn from the door guys. Like when Feng and I are having a good time, and we're just shooting shit back and forth, but we're also being funny. We're trying to be funny. The working on your being funny at all times, all that stuff pays off, because the comedian will grow if he's using the development right. There are comedians there that just hang out and don't really take the time to go watch you or go watch Don,
Yeah.
Fahim Anwar, Theo Vaughn. You got to watch these guys because they're so good, and you are too.
Skyrocketing.
That you're learning from them. You're actually learning little things from them. And
Like what?
for instance, your cadence is a big thing to learn. Like because you.
But
Yeah.
shouldn't you be learning your own?
I do. I go on stage.
But it's also
I go on stage and I do all that.
a gymnast has to learn basic things.
Mm-hmm.
A pianist has to learn basic things. Then you can go ahead and do your own. You've got to know a certain amount of comedic timing. And just watching people, you can see, not saying that it works for you, what somebody else does, but you can see what worked and go, oh, that type
But
of
you
thing
also
worked.
have to watch it, not
Objectively.
watching. But when I
Right,
say
I get
watch
what you're
it,
saying.
meaning like not watch somebody too much.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
That's a
people that are
problem.
mimics.
Yeah, that can. 'cause
That's
then
what I'm saying.
you
You're like
start
talking
to-
about my cadence. What are you getting at? Eric?
Well, if you listen in the club, there's younger comics that do have your cadence. They've learned some of your cadence, and that's because they've been watching you so much. And I'm not going to say names, but there's other comics in the club that have your cadence a little bit. They have little things that they've watched you do because you're good at it. And like something I learned to do that I use in my stand-up personally that I saw you do, and it really helped me, is not the jokes, but the ending of a joke. If it didn't work, how do you react to it? And can you react a certain way? I don't act, mad, like throw the mic down or anything like that, but I realize I can react like myself when that joke doesn't land. You saw that the other night in the belly room.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah, just being natural in that moment. Instead of worrying about that joke bombing, you do that thing where you put the mic down and
Right.
That taught me that it's not really about the joke at all times. Even if the joke doesn't land, you can still land something at the end of it.
Yeah, I agree. But when I'm doing that, to be honest with you, that's not like a technique. That's like a real visceral reaction from me. It doesn't feel good when a joke doesn't go well, and then I do something. That's not. I didn't learn that from somebody. Now I see maybe you've learned that's okay to what goes on in between the jokes. But I'm saying like that, for example, that's all organic. That's all natural. That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes I come from a baseball world. I was not like, I don't watch a lot of stand-up. I don't know I've seen enough stand-up, like from hosting shows and being around it. I do pick up, but do I actively watch? Do I watch, like I'm watching this? I don't think I do that. I don't think I really ever watch somebody to learn something. I've learned things from just like picking it up, but like for example, like that's all organic. Now, yes, you can learn, like, yes, you can do stuff in between jokes.
And I would say now where I'm getting at is I'm less actively watching now and like more interactively watching when I'm doing it. Like with you, I get to interact. That helps me with my improv. Don Barris, the same thing when I'm yelling out stuff to Don. If you're able to like get good jokes in, that's an open mic. That's better than an open mic because an open mic you have nobody there. With Don, you have a whole crowd and you're able to make them laugh with just your top of your head.
I mean, that's a great. Okay, I'll say this. That's one thing about the Comedy Store. Like with Don Barris, for example, it's like if I always would tell people, go to the Don Barris shows if you want to play around. If you're looking for something to do, this guy is open to playing around. It's like it's a gym, it's a playpen, it's crazy, but no other club offers that.
No.
So you send them there. But you got to be.
You send them there.
But it gets to a point like you still want
Banished.
You still need to get up on stage.
I'm up on stage every night.
I'm not.
Open-
you're being
open mics.
being a little defensive.
I am too when I set up the mics.
But like, and it pays off in the end. Like with the New Year's Eve, the end of the night thing. Like even working with Don, I get to work on the sound. I get to work on the lights. Those are things also used in entertainment. So I can be more useful in other parts of entertainment.
Yeah.
So it's all, it's all. I'm always trying to learn while I'm there. I do have moments where I'm just hanging out and just shooting.
If you
shit.
ever think you have learned it all,
You haven't.
quit. Right. I mean, I remember older comics, and when I say older guys, like before my time or when I started that had been around it for 30 years or so, that their set was set in stone. This is the 15 minutes. This is the joke I always open with. This is the joke I always close with. Bam. That was it. And my first, 5-7 years, we had tons of guys that were like that. And then they saw other people just flying past them, and they were defensive because I've been here longer. I should be getting that type of, I'm the next so and so. I've been, and I didn't say anything to him, but I said, well, I've been here, thinking in my head 3 years, and every single time I've seen you perform, you've done 100% the same thing. And, just time at a club does not equate to talent.
Right. Now, what would you say, Jeff, the comedians today compared to like the comedians of yesteryear or the earlier years? Are they stronger comedians now? Or are they...
Well, it's a little hard for me to say because I don't see people and I don't play open mic anymore. Mm-hmm. So I see guys when they become paid regulars.
Right. Well, yeah, the paid regular guys. Like, what's the difference now of most of the paid regulars this generation as opposed to like generations in the past?
A lot. I think they take a lot more chances on stage as opposed to, here are the 7 jokes I'm going to do, like memorized, perfect like that. And there are guys that do that and are fantastic at it, and they can jump around and all. But I see a lot more guys, like one of you guys mentioned Fahim Anwar before.
Right. He's always doing new stuff.
Yeah. Every night there's something different. I'm like, oh, never saw that. I mean, if I've sat there for 22 years and I hear you talk about a subject that I've never heard, that's something pretty smart then. And I've heard Fahim do quite a few bits that I'm like, never heard anybody talk about that before.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes in that main room, though, because it's so, it's competitive and everyone, you got to like bring it.
You're making money in the main room and you have to bring the A game.
Excuse me, the original room. We'll just say the original, for example, the original room. You guys want to like not take too many chances. They want to they want to do well, not just to look good, but like to keep up. And sometimes you're not taking as many chances.
And the lineups are so stellar right now. I won't mention names, but I was sitting with 2 super famous comics in between sets, and one of them, when I walked in, their conversation was about new material. And the one guy was like, I only do 2, maybe 3 when I'm in the OR. Then I jump to what I know works because the lineups are so strong. I can't, bomb. I got to try them right up at the top and then get into the shit I know is going to kill.
You said super famous. Was it Brody Stevens and Don Barris?
Shh. Can we edit that out, please? Can we edit that out?
No, I think there's definitely like something to that about. But when I perform, I try not. It's good
because that brings every. If the lineups are so strong and you're on the lineup and you're like, oh my God, I'm following Bill Burr and then Mark Maron and I'm bringing up Joe Rogan,
right,
and then whoever.
You don't want to stand out in a negative way.
It brings you up to, you're like, I got to bring my A game now. I got to work hard too. So
right.
It pushes everybody to be better.
Yeah, I just try to have fun in there. Sometimes I like fun when I'm not doing my jokes. I'm just like the
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. I was just having fun in there.
That was a lot of fun.
It was just fun. I wasn't doing like a ton of new jokes, but I was just like giving them a hard time. They were playing back, doing my faces.
And also when an audience realizes that they're not seeing a play that has been done word for word every night, that we interact with them and talk with them. Some people aren't expecting that.
Right.
Not in the sense that we pick on people, because we don't really have those type of comics that are,
Rick Ingham's
well,
the one.
yeah, Rick. Okay, we have, and maybe Holtzman. We have 2 that I can think of.
Yeah, it's real. We're not a YouTube video. We're not a movie. We can hear you. I always say, I can hear you. I could feel you. You could smell me. I could, this is real.
And people are so used to sitting and watching comedy in their home. Now, personally, when I'm at home watching comedy or something that is funny, I laugh out loud. Mm-hmm. I don't just sit there and be like, clever.
Right.
I actually laugh out loud, but I know some people that don't laugh out loud. So then you go to a comedy club and it's like, why aren't these people laughing yet?
Right.
It's very contagious.
And you see them smiling and you see them applaud.
Smiles don't count.
And they'll tell me afterwards, I had a great time. This is the first time I was here. And I'm thinking to myself, I watched you the whole time and you never laughed out loud once.
I need laughter.
Yeah.
I need laughter.
That's weird to me.
Feng Chao.
Brody.
What do you see What are your goals? Or do you want to be? Obviously, you want to be at the Comedy Store.
have
You
one
want,
goal.
What's your? Well, here we go. What is
One
it?
goal.
Yes.
Make all the money and have all the girls in the world. That's my
The
goal.
white girls.
The
So it's money and
bitches.
girls.
White bitches.
And that can be attained through stand-up, through comedy.
Yes.
That got a little
laughed
real.
first, and I said yes. Yes. Yes.
Because because if you're funny, people, funny will get money. Money will get. I think I think being the best comedian you can be is that. That's what you want to do, right? Be the best comedian you could be.
Yes.
To get chicks and money.
Let's say you get Paris Hilton and she's already got money. Then you're set. You have a white girl and the money.
No, I'm going for the puss, not the money.
But there's a lot of guys who play, bands to get girls.
Mm-hmm.
Are there guys who do stand-up to get girls?
Me.
You really are doing that.
That was for the joke. No, that was for the joke. I did it for make people laugh, but goals
Getting
is,
women's the advantage of it, like a
It's like a
bonus.
package deal.
Yeah.
Like but I do like girls to like me as Feng Chao, not on stage, because that's just, I feel like you're dating a girl, they're like, oh, like you're a superstar on stage, but a superstar can be off stage, then it's just different.
So there's off-stage Feng Chao and there's on-stage Feng Chao.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Now, what about you, Jeff? Is there off-stage Jeff, on-stage Jeff,
Sure.
off-piano Jeff?
Yeah.
He's more into guys though.
Well, yeah. I'm in it for the white guys.
There you go.
White guys.
For me, I do. It's like
White girls.
I did so much, audience warm-up and so many hosting gigs. It's like just the last few years, I would say 5 years or so, I've really had to make myself think I'm a stand-up comedian, because I was always and so I like being in those little supporting roles. I liked doing the audience warm-up. I liked barking at the Comedy Cellar. I liked being a tour guide at Radio City Music Hall. I liked doing my cable access show in Seattle. But when you're the stand-up and they're all looking at you,
Yeah.
that's a different muscle. That's a different mindset. And it takes, they say, years and years and years.
Well, I worked as a performer for most of my career on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom said it to me best when she said that she thinks that all my experience as a performer made me good for working behind the scenes, because I know what the performer on stage is going through. I don't want to do stand-up. I tried it for 6 years. It wasn't my thing, But I do know what the comic up on stage wants, or if there's a rim shot for a joke, I think I've got a good sense of timing for that type of thing. But yeah, there's an advantage, and there's a longer shelf life behind the scenes too.
Yeah, you could look at it. You could look at it that way.
And if I had tried to be, let's say I'd come and auditioned for Mitzi, and obviously never, she'd pack your dreams and go home. I'd
She
get
said that?
She'd say that to people. Oh yeah, pack up your hopes and dreams and go home. Yeah.
Wow.
So real.
I probably
That's so
would have
real.
gotten that, versus now I'm in a gig where I'm co-working with Bill Burr and Chappelle.
And it's like the pressure's not on you. There's
It's
you're just
not
there
on
to
me,
have
and
fun.
I'm there to have fun,
Do
and
your
I'm
job.
working with
The pressure is on Earl Skakel, who's just commented on the Periscope.
Oh well, pressure is
Big
always
Daddy
on
Earl Skakel.
But it's like stand-up really is.
Hi Earl.
Stand-up really is it's king of the jungle, and it's
Yeah. And
hard. And
it's
it takes years and years and years. And another thing is they talk about how developing it's
There's no one way to develop. Everybody develops differently.
it develops differently, but you want, in terms of shortcuts, there aren't any. You got to get
No.
on stage. It's like
There's
you
no
could watch and
shortcut.
you can play a lot, but how do you get good at stand-up? By doing stand-up.
Yeah.
That's you just have to say, I'm doing it. I'm going to go out on the road or get out on the road or move somewhere where I can get more spots or what have you. It's like getting those spots. Sometimes it's hard to get those spots in L.A. That's why podcasting's popular. Now, this is today, or when you do a podcast, like Joe Rogan would say, stand-up is stand-up, podcasting's podcasting, acting or rate. It's all they're all muscles. So,
Yeah.
you do the podcast, that's a good thing. You play around with Don, that's a good thing. You do your blogging, that's a good thing. So,
I like that finger.
Joe just got Kanye. That's crazy.
Was that for real?
Yeah.
I saw that and I didn't know if that was like.
why is that crazy?
A joke
'Cause
meme.
Tell me
Kanye-
why that's crazy.
I mean, it's a crazy.
No, he's
it's a
crazy.
crazy get to get Kanye. Kanye is one of the biggest stars on the planet.
You don't think Rogan's big?
No, he's
they're
big in
different
his-
worlds.
Yeah, it's a
Different
Kanye
worlds.
is in a whole nother atmosphere than Joe. Like Joe's famous, but he's not as famous as Kanye. Kanye's got like 80 million followers on Twitter. He's like an international.
Okay, but here's what
superstar.
here's what I would say. I think Joe getting Kanye West, I don't think it's crazy. I think I like not surprised at all.
And he hasn't been doing many interviews. So to have him be on a podcast that's going to be an interview for an hour or more, that's pretty.
I do think.
I think it's cool. I wouldn't call it crazy.
Do you think you'll ask him if he's ever done DMT?
He might, right? I mean,
That was the joke on Twitter. Everyone.
Yeah.
go ahead, Feng Chao, and then we'll take some stuff. We'll take some, see what they're saying on Twitter, and then we'll wind it down here.
Earl said he's horny.
Earl is horny.
Yeah.
I'll
Earl
be
is
over
always
in an
on.
hour, Earl. Calm down.
No, I just like for that podcast thing. I think maybe it's just, like intellectually they can connect to each other, like Joe and Kanye, right? Like I feel like there's nothing you can just talk to someone on a podcast setting, like everyone's gonna be having a good time.
It'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, I just don't think it's crazy. I think it's like almost expected it.
Rogan,
Joe's like the number one podcaster. Kanye's like the number one aloof,
Crazy
guy.
Aloof, great.
There you go. So I'm breaking the semantics down. But Eric, when you're doing comedy, words matter.
Yeah, I get that.
So-
it says Oligny has the stage presence of an offstage keyboard player.
Hey, oh wait, that's my presence.
Rogan and Kanye is mind blowing. Liberty.
She said that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the podcast will be mind blowing. I think him going on to Rogan, it's not crazy. I see it. I saw that happening. That's what I think.
Brody makes Eric pee in a pickle jar. I don't get that one.
Why?
It's not a stall.
I think it's drug testing. You drug tested.
There you go.
Very
There we go.
sober before the
There you
show.
go. Feng Chao, you're about to add something?
No, I was gonna say
He
the
pees in the
podcast.
jar.
It's cool, but here is also cool. So like just a bunch of friends having a good time and talking about stories.
I mean, I think today what you heard on this podcast, we got into it. You heard Jeff talking about what he does, how he sees things.
Stuff.
You saw Feng Chao, who's a current door guy, how he came about being at the Comedy Store. You have Eric here. You have me here. It's like the Comedy Store. It really is like a multicultural. Everyone's invited. Everyone's involved. We can all learn from it. And yeah, go ahead. Feng Chao,
I know
everybody.
what I was gonna say. We're gonna give a shout out to Adam, not to put your name on the marquee
How
last week.
dare you?
He put
Adam.
it on
yeah,
last
yeah.
night and you weren't there.
Last night I was on the marquee.
Yeah, and you weren't even there.
Well, they
at
forgot
least,
to take
at least
it
they
down.
tried.
I mean,
Why was I on the marquee last night?
So there was 3 people that were on the marquee that weren't on the show. Jade, Kata, Prada, you, and I can't remember the last one. But
Well, Adam owes me because I taught him how to play. I taught him how to play baseball. Adam's.
Adam O's.
But
You
yeah,
know,
somebody came up to me last night and they were like, "Where's Brody?" One of the people that hangs out, one of the comics. They're like, "Where's Brody? His name's up on the marquee." And I looked and I was like, "Oh,
Nobody took a photo
He's
and
not
sent it
here?
to me.
Oh.
Sometimes it's good to take a night off. When you take a night
Yeah.
off, Jeff, do you just like totally decompress from the Comedy Store? Don't even like think about it?
Yeah, I don't go out. I cook myself a steak and watch some Netflix and, relax.
And what about you, Feng Chao? How many nights a week are you at the Comedy Store?
I'm there a lot. Usually five or six.
And what do you do on the nights when you're not there?
I'm just
Chilling?
like, chill. Like I don't think if I'm not working, I try to book on shows. If not, I'm just doing open mic and I do open mic on my night off. But I don't go to the store to hang out. I'm there
Because you're there all
the
those
time.
nights.
If I need to hang out, I
Working
don't-
there is hanging out.
Yeah, I'm there like 3 to 4 nights a week. I could probably be there a little more, possibly, but then I end up
You know what, though?
getting in my head. I'll be sitting there and I go,
I
should.
worked 6 my first, I think, 2 years. And Mitzi Mountain wanted to fire another piano player and have me work 7. I'm like, I don't
Can't
want
do
to work
7.
7 nights a week.
I think 3-4 nights a week at the store in general is very good because of the energy. It's crazy there, like so busy. Like if you're there like 5 nights in a row, you get like if you're. I mean, like for us, for the guys that were working 2 sold out shows,
Yeah.
But I think as a comedian, I think it's good to go there once in a while and go there early. If you're a late guy, and just watch how the rooms are set up, watch how these guys work. I see the door guys, and you the other night, Jeff, setting up for we're flipping the room around. It's like, and it's impressive. You don't see it very. I was telling Matt, I said I saw you warm up the crowd or to go up first. I thought it was really good.
Well, you know what else is impressive? Certainly, our new staff, in particular, is nobody has ever have to be told what to do. Everybody comes in and just works.
They really do,
because they know that we are giving these other freedoms. It's not that. It's not like we're
It's not like you're pulling balloons down from the ceiling and dropping them on Bobby Lee too early.
Oh, hey, that was an accident.
Oh, that happened.
New Year's.
Pre-celebration.
I had New Year's Eve screw up. Yeah, there's a vent above the stage, directly above the center of the stage.
Yeah.
So I always fill it with balloons and then put a little plastic tarp to hold the balloons in there. Run the string over to my piano and I pull it down at New Year's. Excitement. Oh, and this year I put like bags of glitter confetti and shit in there. And I came over to the piano. Bobby Lee was finishing, and it was right as he finished a long, minute joke.
Uh-huh.
And he hit the punchline. He was under the thing. He laughed. I reached over with my arm to turn my piano sound up on the soundboard. And the button on my jacket caught the thread and pulled the string, and the shit came down right on him. And he's like, "What the fuck? It wasn't that funny."
Early New Year's.
Early New Year's. It happens.
But it was like timing. The comedy gods were like, "Hey, at least it was funny."
There you go. It's all about being funny.
I just wanted to give you a heads up. There's 15 more minutes left. 15.
15 and what? The podcast? Well, I was going to wind it down. I'm winding down now. How long have we gone? We've gone for quite a while.
I wound down.
I would say an hour and a
done.
half. Aaron, hour and a half, yeah.
Such a good time, we forgot about the time.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's like a festival of friendship.
You got it.
Enjoy it.
Yes, we're pushing positive.
Believe.
I mean, that's the one thing, though. I do pull in the lot, and you see the door guys. Like, they're the first guy you see. You see the guy in the lot. You see the guys working the door.
Yeah.
I just check in with them, get a pulse. And I also feel like I don't do it. I mean, I'm doing it because I like to talk to them, but I also know they appreciate it too, especially in the main room. When I go on, because I'm in there late in that main room, and there'll be a couple guys, the door guys, and Frank Castillo, yourself, and Hormos, and Stephen Randolph. I'm always mixing it up with these guys, and
yeah, the comics check in with me, and they'll usually say, "How are they tonight?"
They'll say that. Yeah.
Unless they're opening, then they're going to have to find out how the audience is. But yeah, they'll usually ask me, "How are they tonight?" And I'm like, "They're great," or "They need some drinks," or "They're a little stiff."
They need some
or
drinks.
yeah, sometimes it's like an audience turns out great once they've had some drinks in them, and they're just like I said, so many people are used to watching comedy at home and not laughing out loud that some people just sit in the showroom and are like,
yeah.
that's amusing.
I'll ask the door guys. I go, "Who's doing the crowd work? Do they like that? Do they like the high energy? What do they like?"
Yeah.
So I also do it to just feel include the door guys. Feel like, okay, you're up there with me. We're having, it's like a comedian to another comedian. Let's have fun. And also it's like eases my mind a little bit.
Right, but I would always think when you come in, you would check in like, "Hey, how's the guy?" But I do think I always say, as long as you had fun on stage, whatever you do on stage, because people already love Brody, you just be you, and then they are gonna.
They're psychologists also. You gotta definitely, because I come in there, I'll lean on them. Sometimes I just do it to do it. Like, you think I'll do okay? I lean on them a little bit, but I like to. And then Feng Chao, I go, "Should I periscope?" Yes, I'll hold the periscope. So it's like, I like it having the guys there.
Oh yeah.
They said that you're the best camera guy, Feng.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he's Asian, of course.
It was a dig at me, I think. I think they were digging at me, but they said you're the best camera guy when you
my
do
God.
Periscope.
Yeah,
At
the
At
Periscope.
the club?
Uh-huh.
People like the Periscopes. Just be careful not
I
get
didn't
other
know it was still
get
a
other
thing.
comedians on their. I don't tape other comedians, obviously, but that's
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
thing
yeah.
I got to watch out for. I do it because I feel that, especially if I'm doing a late night spot, if I don't always do my Periscope, but
Yeah.
it's look, if I can get like 300, 400 extra. I had like 3,000 people saw the Periscope from the New Year's Eve show.
Wow.
3,000 eyeballs. Who knows, how long they stayed, but that's 3,000 people that weren't in there. It's good for the
Right.
club. It's good for me, and because I'm doing always different stuff, new
And
stuff.
that's your choice. Nobody
My choice.
released it
Correct.
like taping something illegally at a club and then releasing it.
Yeah, exactly. The Louis C.K. stuff, and we didn't go into that. We could. What do you think about that stuff? The Louis C.K.
I think it's bullshit.
Amen.
You don't know where.
As a comic, I mean, like, sorry that I cussed, but I think it's.
Well, what do you think about? Okay, forget about him being recorded. We all agree that's not great. What do you think about the pushback, the backlash? How, say, like
The virtue signaling?
I think we were not sitting there in that club. I only heard a short clip. I didn't listen to the whole thing. Didn't really care to. I've seen him live enough. He's very acerbic. He talks shit about his own children.
Right.
In his act. Who knows where in the development process this was? This could have been the first night he said that, and he realized from, the audience non-laughter, oh, this was too harsh and too far. I mean, comics always talk about very dark. 9/11, we were closed for 7 days, and then we opened up, and every person did 9/11 jokes.
There's a documentary on Netflix right now called Is the Holocaust Funny? Or is like making cancer jokes funny? The documentary is actually like something like that, and it's
Yeah.
all about jokes from the Holocaust.
Well,
and
it's the
cancer.
people that come in with the attitude of this one thing that is important to me, you cannot make fun of.
Well, I mean, but what do
You
you
know.
think? But what do you think about how on Twitter, for example, Louis went up and did his stuff, and yes, the guy's recorded. That's a whole other thing.
But it
But-
was supposed to be heard there live for those people that paid for it. And they liked it or they hated it, but it was that moment live. It wasn't supposed to be
Correct.
out there for the
Doug-
world.
Doug-
But
Stanhope.
what do you think about? I know. But what do you think about Judd Apatow, for example? He went on Twitter and he said that what he was talking about was not good, essentially,
And
then-
that's Judd's right. And Judd also doesn't talk about very dark stuff. And Louis does.
right. But that's where then Sam.
That'd be like going up to, like, writing something about Dice saying, I can't believe that he, spoke horribly of a woman. You just don't do that.
So what do you
Dice.
think about that?
That's Dice. That's his act. That's
Right.
what it is. And it's freedom of speech in the last bastion of freedom of speech is a comedy club. Mm-hmm. And I feel that's why I went off Twitter and some of these other things.
You're
I'm
better
like,
off for it.
I want to hear it in the atmosphere it was meant to be. If you walk into an elevator and there's a 6-piece band in there, you don't expect that because that's not where it is. If you walk into a nightclub where there's music, you expect music and you like them or you don't like them. But you don't have to write a paragraph about everything, like Rick Ingram says, the millennials who are so offended about, I'm offended.
Right. He would get backlash for that on Twitter. But Judd went after Louis for that. For
I don't know their friendship.
And he called him hacky, which you just don't do in
Yeah,
a comic.
yeah.
That's where he went over the line, and
Yeah,
that's where
I mean-
Sam got mad. That's where every comic got mad. It's
'Cause realistically-
you're living in the world of comedy, and you're telling Louis C.K. that he's being hacky or whatever.
I could
You
go
don't do
through
that
his
online.
set and find a hacky joke
hundreds.
in Judd's.
Go through all of his movies.
That's what
There's
I'm
hacky
saying,
jokes
you
throughout
know.
his movies. I like Judd, but I don't like the way he's virtue signaling online. Nobody cares about that stuff.
I think
Like,
we're
let-
just everybody's opinion matters. But
Doug Stanhope
not
put
on-
it best.
But
What did he
not every platform in the world has to have your opinion. How about you just, I don't like that. And that's where it ends.
But unfortunately, it's not. Now, Doug Stanhope had
Stanhope
said,
was tweeting.
I'm gonna find it. Right
but he
now.
was talking more about the bootleg.
the recording of it and how. Like,
Okay, we agree with that.
Yeah.
but that's
But
the
that's
thing.
not
Like,
what
we
Sam.
wouldn't-
But Sam wasn't talking about.
Well, he
that.
was saying that Judd shouldn't be coming out and attacking comics because it's not his job to come out and attack comics. That's the press, all those people. He's a comic. We're not supposed to sit there and attack each other for jokes. Or we're supposed to be able to feel free on stage. We're not going to feel free on stage if other bigger comics are attacking you for the jokes you're telling, even if they're not the greatest
Other bigger
jokes.
comedians?
That's why I say I feel like this is like, oh, are we starting to see the demise of comedy clubs where we're not even safe in a comedy club to say a insensitive
if we don't push back against guys like a Judd Apatow, and there's other guys on Twitter today who are still doing it, they're supporting Judd, and I'm not getting involved in all this, but like Paul F. Tompkins and Dana Gould, they're definitely like pro Judd, anti.
But they're also not always
like
doing
Missy
stand-up.
said, say whatever you want.
They're stand-ups.
No, I'm saying they're not always they're not always like they're not always at the Comedy Store. They're not always at the Improv. They're here and there with stand-up. In the LA community, from what I've seen, I've not seen them around a lot. Whereas Judd, you see him more often, and he has to be around these people, and you're sitting there telling other comedians that their joke isn't right. You can't joke about that, and it's like.
But I just think there's pushback now.
Oh yeah.
In terms of guys pushing back. You're going to push on us. You can say whatever you want on. This is like an online thing, kind of. You can say whatever you want online. Well, you know what? I can start saying whatever I want. Meaning, like Sam tweeted at Judd Apatow. He checked him. It was like unbelievable. So that was kind of like a wake-up call for these guys. Like, you're going to do that, but a real artist.
I just fear that this is like the new norm, and there is no longer civility.
I think there'll be civility in 2019.
Everywhere you go, somebody is outraged by something at every moment of every second in the world.
But they're like crying kids. You just put them off in the corner.
It would be nice, but these are crying adults.
I know, but
what I should know better.
I know, but what I'm saying is, because Sam did that tweet, he went to the source of Judd Apatow on Twitter in front of everybody, saying that's not cool. That ain't you're saying it's hacky or this and comedian versus comedian. That's not cool. Sam put
we're on a team.
Yeah, we're a team.
Sports players don't go off, or seldom, and if they do go off on a fellow team member, it becomes a big.
And a coach doesn't throw the player under the bus at a press conference.
Right.
He does it in the locker room.
Right.
Yeah, right. There's certain things, like my grandmother said, you don't air your dirty laundry in public.
No, you don't.
And we've now become a situation or a nation of Jerry Springer is the norm, where everybody lives to tell you about how offended and how disgusting their life is.
But we know how that story ends. It ends in frustration and fighting and depression and all this other stuff.
Right.
But we do realize that Sam does love to troll, and this is something he loves to do. He's just being
there
Sam
is that.
also.
There
he
is
loves
that.
it.
He might be pushing him and poking the tiger.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think about all this? The Louis C.K. and all these. I mean, going after comedians essentially.
Well, if you come after me as a comedian, I'll go after you as a comedian.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like I do believe Jeff said it's right. It's like the stand-up is like the last form or whatever it is as a freedom of speech, where people are just saying things.
Yeah.
To me, like as a Chinese person, I didn't grow up in this country. Like a lot of bad words in the country that you can't say to me. That really is just English word. I'm not trying to play dumb.
Right.
The bad words in the country, like not the words that people are not supposed to say in a day-to-day life to a Chinese person. You think my mom hear this word like she's gonna separate from banana and apples?
But I think it may. I don't know. It may have been something. See, I feel like on stage I say whatever I want. I'm not. I don't think I'm really that controversial.
You're not too controversial.
Not really that controversial. I
No,
say what I
not at
want.
all.
I try to be funny. On Twitter, I see things like I will speak my mind, and I've been like knocked for it a couple times. I've held back on that on Twitter, speaking my mind. So.
But isn't America is about freedom of speech, about this country? I can say things on stage. I can say things on social media.
And the difference is on stage. That joke or whatever the line that Louis was talking about was said on stage, and that's the only place it was supposed to be heard.
Correct.
Was on stage. Now, whether he wanted to tell the audience, wink, I'm joking when I say this or not. Like Rogan, when Rogan says something, he's like, relax, folks, I'm just kidding. These are jokes. I don't believe any of this, you know. And I've heard Louis, like I said, I've heard him talk horrible things about his own kids. And that's his dark sense of humor. And it might not be your dark sense of humor. Doesn't mean that you have to, you know, vivisect him or whatever that is.
So
cut him up.
I've got the tweet that Judd made that was the reason Sam blew up. It's, this hacky, unfunny, shallow routine is just a symptom of how people are afraid to feel empathy. It's much easier to laugh at our most vulnerable than to look at their pain directly and show them love and concern. Louis C.K. has all the fear and the bitterness now. He can't look inward. And then Sam replied, I stand with Louis C.K. Judd, did you call out Lena Dunham when she admitted to molesting her sister or falsely accusing a man of sexual assault in college? No, of course not. If anyone knows hacky, it's you. You used a cheat code to get on stage to be one of us. We won't forget this.
Wow.
Just missiles. Just shooting missiles.
I mean, you can't disagree with that.
No.
Just missiles.
It's accurate.
That's a cheat code.
Because they've already on social media have shut guys down. Guys have been shut down. I mean, I keep my mouth shut, but on stage I don't, and I don't need to because my heart's in the right place. I feel like they can read my energy.
But you go in there expecting, okay, maybe it's not your sense of humor. That's why, especially at the Comedy Store, we have 16 comics, and each guy does 15 minutes. If you don't like it, step out of the room. That guy will be done. The next person you're going to love.
Yeah.
Instead, I've heard, now this has been years, but I remember times where people would just stand up and yell at a comic, you can't talk about that. That's offensive. That was before PC was really like this big thing, you know,
right.
like 8-10 years ago. Once in a while, somebody would stop. And now you just see people going right to their phones. Well, this comic at this club said blah, 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 blah. You know, and there are, unfortunately, type A people that they're not going to step out of the club. They'd rather be there and be infuriated because that's what they're...
and then they go on social media.
That's like the lady that was seen at the convenience store on video, and the guy, it was a transsexual.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy accidentally said, sir. And
Right.
Sir, it's ma'am! It's ma'am! I mean, you could tell.
That was loud.
He went from 1 to, 100 in a second. And he does that. She. Oh, dear God.
Be careful.
She has
Shem.
done that. You could tell that type of personality, even when he was a he, probably was offended by things like that easily. And then maybe you don't come to a 21 and over club.
Right.
Where it's going to, be shocking. Or, like I said, sit one act out. That's why we have 16 different comics on the lineup. One is going to be your flavor. And you know what? One might not be. How about those trailers you saw at the movie? Do you want all your money back because one of those trailers was a horror movie and you don't like horror movies?
You remember how many people David Taylor would just piss off every single night?
Yeah.
I think that...
David was much harsher than Louis has ever been.
Yeah.
I think the stand-up...
Brian Holtzman.
I think if they start going after stand-up comedians, we'll circle the wagons and protect that.
Oh, we're like
Twitter,
killer bees.
Twitter,
But
it's
this is
already
what this
been
is.
brought down.
This is the start of it. A tweet
I think
like him saying that.
Leslie Jones
But it's
is
going to
standing-
get shut down. I think Sam put that out there to let people know, like Judd and his ilk, for example. You're pushing the wrong people.
Leslie Jones also said it on the talk show. She said it on The View. She's like,
What did she say?
I don't remember her comments exactly, but you should watch her interview on The View because
I
she
did. I know
she
what you
talks
mean.
about the freedom of being a stand-up comedian on stage, and we need to quit judging these stand-ups so harshly. The joke, you're killing comedy by doing.
But
it.
but you're okay with it on Twitter. They're okay.
But Twitter is not a stand-up comedy club.
But Twitter is.
But Leslie, after the
Twitter
Louis C-
is. But Twitter is a form of freedom of speech, and a lot of people got shut down on Twitter.
Yeah,
So
they
you guys
did.
already allowed that. So now it's going on to the stand-up world, and it's like, you know what? You allowed
Where
it.
does it
See, but you
stop,
know
right.
what? You know what I did? 2 years ago, said buy Twitter. Didn't delete my account. I said I'm not going to use this because anytime I just posted a picture, even just of the lineups, somebody felt that they had to tell me how much they hated that one person. as opposed to just, oh, I hate that and pass right past it. They took the time to tell me how mean and angry and offended it was.
That's why I focus on positive.
I don't need that in my life.
Exactly. And that's why you said when you talked earlier about Popeyes having grease. I go, that's negative.
Negative grease.
Keep it positive.
Positive. We got positivity.
I just think that
I got positive.
we already allowed it. You already you when you did it on Twitter and you're banning people from all these platforms. It's like you should have said something then. You were all for it when they banned all these people.
It has to come to a peak. I mean, it's just
the bubble's going to burst.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. This Louis C.K.
And I think people
thing.
need to just maybe keep your damn opinion to yourself.
Yeah, that'd be great.
On
Especially
Twitter
when it comes
too.
to comedy.
On anything.
And that goes for Twitter for
anything.
banning people.
If I see something on TV that I don't like,
Change a channel.
I change the channel or I turn it off. I don't immediately write Les Moonves said blah blah blah. Well, your TV show that came on in syndication today really offended me because.
And if you did, they might. That's how the FCC used to be. They would get like 3 letters. They go, okay, you're going to get fined because somebody wrote 3 letters.
Yeah.
So
that one woman. It was just like a couple weeks ago. Something happened where she did something, and it changed everybody's thought of that song, that Christmas song.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
it's cold outside.
Baby, it's cold outside. That's a rape song. I don't think when it was written that was the intent. It's actually a flirtation between 2 characters.
But you can't even do
how
that.
It's used in the movie. No, that's that woman who can't do that.
Right.
She doesn't want to be flirted
But people
with.
did.
So that's fine. She doesn't want to be flirted with.
But they did take the songs off
Then they put it back on.
They put it back on. But is that where we want to go with all this
Look
stuff?
what happened to Tiffany Haddish in Miami.
Boo.
She bombed, and then they TMZ sold her out on a thing, and now it's a big deal on
What do you
Twitter.
mean sold her out?
They made a video. They put a video out.
She basically partied a little too much.
No, I know the
before her
story,
night
but
it's
gave
still
a poor
it's now to that point where even that wasn't a story.
That's not a story.
It's just
you don't think it's a
no.
story?
Comedians bomb. They're not going to have their best
What
sets
if I told?
every-
What if I went to TMZ every night that a comic had a bad set, even the good ones? What if I went to them and said, "Hey, tonight so
that
and
was
so
a non-story.
did bad."
You think it was?
That's not-
You think it was a non-story?
Yeah, and she only that she made it up because she drank with her fans. She gave them something they'll always remember. Like even if she bombed.
I think if you're doing a New Year's special, a New Year's show, people are paying a lot of money. It's a New Year's show, probably a big venue, and you're on there and you were like drunk the night before. She said she was drunk, and she did bomb. She admitted. I think it is a story.
Well, it's on her, but it doesn't have to be like let's.
It's not blow up the
castrate
world
her.
about her. Yeah, because people are saying she's not funny now.
But
I'm like,
she's,
that
but
girl
she's,
works.
she's
but
not funny at all.
that's the trade-off when you're a big star. She's a big star
Yep,
now,
granted.
and then you have something like that where you say, "Okay, I was drunk the night before."
We're putting people under the microscope.
But
I
they didn't-
agree.
they didn't
and their
give her-
opinions under the microscope and making them these giant galaxies, making a molehill out of a
mountain out of molehill.
But they
I'm
didn't-
just saying that specific show. If it was like a 15-minute set in the OR and she bombed on a Wednesday night, and then they put that on TMZ, I go, come on.
You know who's probably mad if she bombed and had it? Probably her talent agency, her
Right.
management, and they should be. Who cares? I don't need to see on TV.
The thing is,
But I also
she
have
just
the
got
choice
done.
to not watch TMZ.
She just got done killing at the Comedy Store for 5
my
hours.
God, yeah.
Her and Chappelle were on stage for 5 to 6 hours, killing it. It's
Crushing
like
it in a
you
private
got to
show.
think. You got to think after that whole week of doing all that stuff with Dave, who Dave is a heavy partier.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to think she was beat up after that. all
Okay,
that.
but you're still a professional, and you're doing I'm sure she got paid a lot of money. You're
Oh,
doing
yeah.
a New Year's Eve show,
yeah.
Miami. Chris Spencer was like the opening act. I mean, he's a big
At least
time
they got
comedian,
a good opening act.
So
Yeah, again, I can't really talk about it because I wasn't there. I
right.
didn't see the show.
But
saw
I
the
could
one
see
little
I
clip.
could see it being a story.
And again, somebody pirated a clip. It wasn't supposed to be. There's not supposed to be videotapes at these concerts.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you're doing that kind of show and to have that, I think
I agree with
I
you.
think it
on-
is a story.
I agree with you on the fact that
Well, it's a story, but does it have to ruin
I don't
her
think
career?
it's-
No, not
I mean,
ruin her career.
The
I'm
way
not
it was
saying that.
presented, it was like,
backlash
and now
from
she's
it.
dead.
Everyone's
and she
acting
will
like-
never perform again because she just destroyed her life.
Everyone was acting like they bought tickets to the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, let the people that bought tickets to the show be upset, but you're acting
Right.
like you bought tickets to the show and you're so offended by like this isn't Woodstock. You know, everyone wanted to be at Woodstock. There was only 300,000 people there, but everyone says they were at Woodstock. Same thing. It's like everyone wants to be at Tiffany Haddish' show to watch her bomb. And like that's the thing. If they said people would actually pay that money to be there and say they were part of that moment now, even though she bombed, they would love to be part of that moment because it's this.
And
world.
who says she bombed?
She did.
The whole.
Yeah, she said she bombed.
The entire hour.
I don't know, but she said
because
she
the
bombed.
one clip they showed, she just said like, "Oh, I forgot my jokes."
I forget my jokes.
But at least
many people.
That's another thing too. She came out and she said it. She owned it right away. She's like, "I did. I bombed." But she also went and drank with her fans. She didn't make it uncomfortable. She gave her fans something to remember.
Yeah, it's a story, but is it newsworthy?
That's what I thought. Like I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
I mean, TMZ, but TMZ is tabloid journalism, so that's what
I think it's. I think it's newsworthy, but that's my. We agree. We agree to agree. Feng Chao,
Brody,
you're a good guy.
Thank you, Brody.
Jeff Scott, you're a good guy. I like how we got into this kind of stuff. Maybe we should have done that right out of the gate. But you know what? That's not what this. The podcast
this
is slow
Festival
built.
of Friendship.
We learn about where Jeff came from. Jeff was from Ohio. He worked at SeaWorld, came to San Diego, worked at SeaWorld, came up here, worked at the Improv, answered phones, Pee Wee Herman, special effects, starting at the Comedy Store, Sherry Shepherd, early connection, Feng Chao, Beijing, white girlfriend, mixed child, Milwaukee. Target, Monterey Park,
Target.
Open mics, coming back here. Eric.
Travel agency.
He's got a travel agency. Eric.
Dr. Pepper, cigarettes.
We didn't talk about that today.
Oh, but that's what he does.
But that's not what we talked about today. So, Eric, I would...
Wrench.
I was going to... See, Eric, you threw a monkey wrench in.
Phillips screwdriver.
Because this is what I was going to say, but you stepped on me.
Let's rewind.
You stepped... How many times have I heard let's rewind?
Twice.
A lot today.
Three
I
times.
said, Jeff, Ohio, SeaWorld, Feng Chao, Target, Beijing, Eric, his buddy in Atlanta knows somebody that nobody knows. That's what I was going to say. But you stepped on it and you brought in Diet Pepper, which we haven't mentioned once today. We haven't mentioned cigarette once today. You have to realize there's people listening at home for the first time.
After sex, I like to have a cigarette and a Diet Pepper.
Diet Pepper. Straight to the chase. Forget about the doctor.
It's a low-calorie jalapeno.
I'll just take a Diet Pepper.
Isn't that what you were saying, Diet Pepper?
He did say Diet Pepper.
Okay, so I made a mistake.
Am I losing?
Can we rewind it? All right, listen.
That's so funny.
Now we're getting warmed up. Do they like? What are they saying in the periscopes?
Dear Periscope.
Okay, here's a question. The Yellow Goose asked 50 minutes ago. Did you miss this question?
It's on your Twitter, not on my...
Okay. Oops. Question for FOF podcast. When Brody breaks out in song during a set, which I haven't done for a while,
True.
Jeff will sometimes play the piano alongside. It seems improvised. Do you two discuss beforehand and who follows whose lead?
No, and both.
Yeah, it is improvised.
Right?
It's improvised.
It is. Now, there are people that we have like a bit, and if you do it, okay, I realize, okay, he's about to do our bit, and we'll do a bit. But a lot of times that is just improvised. And
it is improvised.
I follow you or you follow me. It's an exchange. It's with different comics. Like with Steve Byrne, we do a little silly stuff at the top and at the end, but not always. And he'll look at me, and I honestly can tell the look in his eye is like, yeah, don't do the funny bit at the end. This wasn't my favorite spot. Or go ahead and milk it.
Yeah.
You know.
Sometimes I come up to the high energy, boom, yes. It's just like having fun. It's being silly.
Right, but I don't know, and that might be a difference also from the olden days. There were guys that were very memorized when I started, and even the spontaneous things were memorized and pre-planned.
We got two more questions coming in.
Two more questions. Here we go.
Ooh. This one's from Latina. Lynette, what's Feng Chao's favorite KFC side?
Favorite KFC side.
Is this a bit? Is this a bit?
Potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. There you go.
Good choice.
And this is from Dylan Welts. Does Feng have any tips on how to get Asian girls?
Since he's in a white girl.
Make sure you have money in your pocket.
Do they accept Venmo?
Probably. in the
Venmo's
future.
a funny
Venmo.
bit.
Yeah. It's either you learn Chinese or you just make sure you have some money. I don't know. They'd be like,
I've never been to China. You think I should go?
yeah, I think you should go.
Would I like it?
It's the bigger cities like Beijing, Guangzhou, Shanghai is just like Asian American cities, but with culture and different stories.
They speak English there.
Even if you don't speak the language, like say Korean or Japanese or Chinese, if you go to those countries, you're gonna be fine.
Seems
Totally
like China's taken over the world. Is that what's going on over there?
fine. Low profile.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it is.
We had that
Ooh,
conversation with Eric
did you see how he
Anderson,
said
the
that?
Comedy Store GM, the other night, and he made fun of Feng because London owns more things in the United States than China.
London
But
owns
China
more?
does
Really?
own more property than the states internationally.
Right, probably.
I can say that for
But,
sure.
Sure.
Yeah, London owns more in the United States.
That's a fact. Mr. Anderson had that fact.
he was
Anderson.
funny. He was very funny.
He
with
was
you.
What-
very funny.
What do they own? The Golden Arches?
No, just the most property in the United States.
And the
I don't.
British.
They don't.
I wouldn't have known.
I don't
that.
write rent checks to them.
And Koreans own the biggest building in Los Angeles, right? Isn't that what he was saying?
The tallest,
Maybe.
the Yao Ming building.
But we own
Funny
Yao
bit.
Ming, though.
Funny bit.
This is from Bleacher Jeff.
Bleacher Jeff
What's the biggest Chinese sport? Is it soccer?
or
Ping pong.
Ping pong. I just say biggest.
Ping pong is?
Not soccer. That's.
China is not big on baseball, really.
We just don't have the. We don't have the facility. We don't have like place to have baseball.
There's a few. I mean, they've had some games. They did.
Yeah,
I
had a
think.
few
I think the
games.
Dodgers went to China.
Yeah.
I went to Taiwan.
It's a huge market, though. Like the.
But basketball's bigger now there, right?
Basketball is
Oh,
very
yeah.
popular. Basketball, soccer, yeah, it's pretty popular. I don't think if we have more, like when I was in Japan, Tokyo, Osaka, all those cities they have like a baseball field.
Tokyo loves America.
What is the biggest
I think.
sport in the
I
gay
love
community?
I've been to Tokyo.
Yeah.
What
What's
is
that?
the biggest sport in the gay community?
It seems like a joke.
Bil-
Easy setup.
billiards?
For you to like
Billiards.
Pocket pool.
You
Hey,
got it. Corner shot.
corner shot.
Combat ping pong.
There you go.
Ooh.
I had fun. I liked.
had
I think
fun.
we really
That was
like
good.
shifted into another gear.
Yes.
But now we know. I set it up. Now they know Jeff's backstory. They know Feng Chao's backstory. They know Eric's story today.
On his monkey wrenches.
His monkey wrenches. Eric, you helped the show today.
Thank you.
You think you did?
Here and there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
felt
good
like
enough. Good enough here and there. I thought it was good.
It
I
was
feel
great.
good about
I
it.
really enjoyed it.
What are they saying in the Periscope? What do they say about it?
Let's see. I need to go to Japanese baseball, drag race, laughing my ass off, LOL, soccer.
Story. What are they saying about it?
They're saying
His monkey wrench.
a lot of monkey wrenches.
Show today?
Terry Green Beans, soccer.
Here and there.
Laugh Out Loud, Pocket Pool by Zonda Girl.
I thought it was good.
Hi Monica from Rumbaman.
Getting very dizzy here.
Let's see. This would be the Echo Chamber.
Echo.
They wanted to know, will Brody hold Eric's hand when he uses the urinal?
His monkey wrench. A lot of monkey wrench.
Yes. From Shake Your Junk.
Why would I hold your? Why would I hold your?
I mean, I use the stall, so it'd be kind of hard to hold my hand at the urinal.
You're getting dizzy?
Uh,
I feel like this is the outro that we can talk.
Promote yourself, Fung.
Eric, I will not hold your hand.
what's happening?
What does the room smell like? Fung, what does the
Big
room
crowd
smell
in here
like?
today. Why would I hold your hand? I keep telling you.
Can we close that door? The audience is awful loud in
Wait,
there.
hold on. Let everyone be quiet for a second.
Okay, 1 second.
Eric is a great supportive co-host. Thank you, Zonda Girl.
That one crazy.
Brody, you need
What's
to come
happening?
back to Squat Melt.
Maybe tonight.
It's Dookie Bones.
Why would I hold your hand? I keep telling you.
Now the show just
The
started.
door
The
is
show
open.
just started. That was the pre-pod you all just watched.
The pre-pod.
Eric is a great supportive co-host. Thank you.
There you go. You're a great supportive
Who leaves this room and goes straight to therapy?
All of us.
Not me.
Richie. Is that Richie from the Comedy Store?
Probably it's Richie from the comedy.
Lexapro.
Bleacher
Which I'm not
Jeff.
on.
Bleacher Jeff wants to know if the room smells like cheese.
No,
No, it smells
very
pretty good in
nice
here, actually. The Punch Drunk didn't have a podcast this week, so it doesn't smell like their.
Oh, I see.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. It was great. We could keep going. Feng Chao, anything you want to promote? Where can they find you?
You can find me at the Comedy Store every Monday through Friday.
Feng
Working.
Feng
Checking
Chao.
ID.
He's at the Comedy Store. He's easy to find. Just ask. He'll be there for you. He's a great guy, and he's a definite impacts the comedy community in a positive way.
Thank
Feng
you, Brody.
Chao. Jeff Scott.
Yes.
We could find you.
At the Comedy Store, Tuesday through Saturday nights in the original room.
You got it.
And-
He is a reliable, consistent force for over 22 years.
Yeah, and I'm our archivist, so I have a Facebook page that's called the Comedy Store Archives, and one going back to when the building was Ciro's, called Ciro's Nightclub.
Check that out. So Jeff is big on Facebook. Jeff Scott, Facebook,
Because
Comedy
I'm
Store
old.
Archives.
Jeff Scott 101 on Twitter.
That's right.
Eric, where can we find you?
I am now producing at the Dojo of Comedy on Sigmore Tavern. I'll be there 3 to 4 times a week. Hosting
Are you a door
shows.
guy there?
No, I'm gonna be running the room.
Oh, okay.
So
It's
yeah,
420.
start checking out the Dojo. It's a really great comedy club. It's gonna be one of the new hot spots in LA to go work out material for the comics.
Eric is predicting
Dojo.
that, and I tend to agree with the Dojo on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood.
And Brody, let me ask you, where are you going to be?
I will be at the Comedy Store. I also do other clubs. I will do the Dojo. You could find me at All Things Comedy. You could find me at Brody's Me Friend on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. I'll be in Arizona and Seattle, February and March, doing shows, and hopefully more shows throughout the year. And of course, All Things Comedy. I'm involved in projects here, Valley Vibes. I did Ian Edwards special. I did the warm up for that. Got that going. You know, if there's cameras involved,
Yes.
I'm good with it. And we could hear this podcast each and every week. Festival of Friendship. We have the great Aaron working today. He's a great guy. I know we didn't do the baseball card game. That's right up Aaron's alley. But today we focused on this. That's not to say we won't do the baseball card game again. And it's good to be back. 2019, I think, is a year that people are gonna work together.
Yes.
That's what's in the stars. Positivity,
Push.
and
Believe.
reaching and helping others and combining.
Friendship.
You know, instead of being independent, be intradependent and be stronger.
Say hi to a neighbor.
Say hi to a neighbor. You got it. And an old friend. Connect with an old friend. Cultivate your friendships. That's what I'm doing this year. Going to reach out to my friends with a text, a phone call, and possibly even a coffee. Have a great week, great night, great day. I am Stephen Brody Stevens on the SBS Festival of Friendship here on All Things Comedy. Yes! See you next time.